Listening to the Did You Hear Show.
Yo, morning, folks.
With your host, Jason Garvey.
Yo, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to the Did You Hear Show. Today we have my co-host, Jay Farrell, on the decks, Martin Murray, and the one and only Paddy Holohan. Paddy, how's things, bud?
Good to be here, lads. Good to be here.
Looking fresh. You're only back from a walk, eh?
That's what I said. I'm looking like a road man coming in here right there.
We wouldn't have you any other way.
I only had to be in Glendalough there a few minutes ago, so
just on a Rocky style jog, you mean?
Yeah.
Jogged up to the
I
studio.
ran from Glendalough. You know what I mean?
Oh, stop. Paddy was only here 5 minutes and he thought he was robbed. He left his phone and his bleeding car keys on the sea and he was convinced that Clondalkin done him dirty.
Yeah,
but
because of all the guests we were waiting to get on to rob, like the MMA fighter on the UFC, you know what I mean? You're waiting to rob him.
Yeah, but not only that, we were coursing during the week, weren't we?
No, don't say
We
that.
were. No, because he knows.
Shut up,
We
Jay.
went out for a drink watching the match.
Oh, Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. And we get a text basically saying like, oh, I can do a half an hour or whatever, Ari fine, I'll hop in the car, and I was like, no, it's not tonight. Do you know what I mean? We thought he was ditching us.
oh, yeah, I forgot all about that, actually, yeah.
Me up here.
Yeah, I remember, that was mad.
Louis is like a wash machine falling down the stairs.
Do you know what we were doing? we were
It's random and everywhere.
We were sitting there and we were like, right, well, how are we going to announce that it's cancelled? We were trying to think of ways.
Because I had previously said to you it's in the studio, and when you said, oh, when is this Zoom starting, I'm like, this fucker's winding me up. Do you know what I mean? He's on the wind up. He's trying to get out of this, he is. But you're here anyway, welcome.
We'd never let us down. I'm a man of my word. And I told you I do this, I said, you know, and a few people I have and a few podcasts I haven't got back to. Sorry about that. You motherfucker. I tell, as I said, man, life is just so busy. Life is crazy.
Look, we're consistent. We stay on your heels until you're the swan. Do you know what I mean?
I like it. Clondalkin style. Cross the road. When you're crossing over that road, you have to be careful.
You might lose your keys and your phone.
Yeah, he's going to have them.
So, what has you busy then these days? What are you doing? You're coaching now?
So the coaching thing is something I've always done. I've been coaching probably for about 13 or 14 years now, to be honest. So I love coaching. I love development. I don't take, like, if someone said to me, like, I'm a pro fighter and I'm this good, I'm not into that. I'm into development. It's like player manager or something, you know. When everyone else was playing FIFA, I was playing player manager, and they were like, you're a weirdo. Yeah. You don't even get to play. You know what I mean?
You were dying to retire just so you could coach.
Yeah. No, even when I was coaching. I was coaching. So I was coaching in the HQ. I was coaching probably 3 or 4 times a week.
Right.
You know, coaching kids, coaching adults, coaching beginners programs, but development. When I was 19, I went to Canada, done a great course there. It was brilliant. It was, you know, and I got to go to Vancouver. So I went to Vancouver for a few months there and a few months in Belfast, and it was incredible. You know what I mean? It was all about athlete development and like sports development, leisure management, and I was training out there as well. And I just finished the course with this mad head over the other side of the
That's true,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
The good old days.
All he did was play football in the hall.
Isn't that mad? Like, I was obsessed. I was only thinking about that on the way here. Like, I probably went on the way about football the way you were about fighting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone was having their lunch on our course and all. I was just going to
Except he succeeded in fighting, you didn't succeed in football.
All you've succeeded in is eating your cunt football.
Listen, I'm not messing. See this guy, you know him. He would.
He's a baller.
You should have stayed with him, I'm telling you.
That's what I was saying. Like, when I only got back in contact with other Jay Farrell there recently, and I was telling him like 18 through 27, don't judge me, because all I wanted to do was play football and I didn't really care about anything else. It was just myself. Do you know what I mean?
So good, man, as well.
I appreciate that, Hooligan.
Just not good enough, but
Yeah,
No, it was. We played a charity game a few weeks ago, and even at that, it was the first time we played ball with Martin. I was like, fucking hell. He was just, you know, one of those, you get the ball, little drag through the other cunt's legs, and then he's just pinged in 20 yarders and all to the top corner.
has the stamina of a bleeding 17-year-old the cunt has.
I tell you what, I didn't that day. I got sick at half time and everything. I was in bits.
Yeah, you were out the night before, weren't you?
Showing off too much. Sorry, Paddy. Just to whoever doesn't know, you obviously lives under a stone, but just a little bit about yourself. You're from Tala. You're mainly known from being in the UFC, fighting in Dublin. Amazing experience. I can't even imagine what that was like. I was obviously watching some recap videos of all the fucking fights and the walkout, and it was just fucking. What was that like, Paddy? That has to be one of the proudest moments of your life, was it?
Outside me kids, yeah, for sure.
Good man, he done it.
Do you know
he
what?
done it.
Because
I had a feeling he went. I had a feeling he was gonna be the one.
No,
I don't know why, Paddy.
Do you know why I knew?
Why?
I wouldn't, because right, and this is where like I had a problem with like watching every interview possible.
Right.
I did at one stage, especially with MMA. Right. I remember Ariel asked you after the fight in Dublin, is this the best night of your life? And you're like, no. when my son was born.
Oh yeah, I remember
Wasn't
that
it?
actually. Yeah.
So I knew he wouldn't, because that's
Yeah.
always our question, you know.
I swear, like, no, that was incredible. That was a lot on the line as well. You know, like I just came out of back surgery. I was broke as a joke. You know what I mean? Like I was 9-0. And the ship was taking off. You know, and like I had the back surgery on the 13th of December, and then I fought on the 19th of July. I think it was the 18th, 19th. But after the Ultimate Fighter, that fight didn't go my way, and I said to Dana, listen, 125 back in Dublin, you know, like let's do it. And he was like, oh, right, sound. Yeah. I was like, sound. Now I didn't know he'd keep that, but then 5 weeks away from it, like people were saying to me, like, are you fighting on that? Yeah, I'm on it.
There was a push for that, though. Do you remember I remember the wave of Irish people just getting on to the UFC through social media. It was like, we need Paddy Holohan, we need Carl Penwood, we need Neil Seary. The people on that card, like the Irish came out to stack a card, and like, now this is one thing I think we're jumping ahead already in terms of MMA to where I wanted it to go. But while we're on that subject, that night in Dublin, right, you're the first fight out. I remember your quote where you were on about like 10,000 hours. It was something that you kind of lived by. And then you came out to Macklemore, 10,000 hours. I literally walked into the arena and that was playing. I was there with me board and all. I was like, this is fucking lethal. And it's Josh Sampo. Was it left uppercut? And then you dropped him and you strangled him.
Caught him
Right uppercut, right, and then
left strangle.
Then strangled him.
Left then right strangle, I think it was.
Yeah. But the pressure of you to go out first, right? Now your whole team's fighting that night, 5 Irish in total. Like, what was that like? So say like you had to kind of set the standard for the night, didn't you? Did you feel that going in or not?
Yeah, well, kind of. Yeah, well, I'm a big team player when it comes to things like that. You know what I mean? I'm not mean. You're in with me. We're in. You know what I mean? That's it. I don't have to. I'm with you. And sometimes you can put yourself in positions where you're actually vulnerable because other people don't see the relationship like that. Sometimes, well, not just in this, in all life. Yeah. But I don't care. I don't let that hold me back. So I'm not thinking like, oh, you have to do this and he's gonna say this. Well, I don't have time. I don't have them conversations in my head, and I know people do. No, there would have been a time. But at that time, it was like, no way. Yeah. He's going to have to kill me in here. And I'm not religious or anything like that, but my grandfather always guided me through life. And I'm telling you, he was with me. He was walking out. And when I look at that guy walking out, it's like looking at a picture of someone else that's not you. You know what I mean? In a mad way. You know what I mean? But he was with me that night, 100%. It felt like I was looking at myself. Yeah. Like you would have to kill me.
Out of body experience.
That's exactly what it felt like. And I know it sounds even weird still saying that but that's what it felt like. You would have to kill me, you know what I mean? And Josh Sampo was no joke. You know what I mean? Josh was...
He was a short fella, but he was a stocky cunt, wasn't he?
He's a 2-time American wrestler, which is what they do is they take it down. No one wants to be coming in and fighting just a guy that has really...
How do you feel about that as a jiu-jitsu artist? Like, if he gets on top, you're comfortable there? Like, or does that change?
In a way, see, the thing is, though, I can see the fight. It's like watching it, how you look at football. Yeah. I can see the fight as from a matchup point of view, where, like, you can go in here and this can be, like, the worst force fight ever, but you might win. You know what I mean? You win. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, like, it's like, how does this get exciting? And that's it. And you're an entertainer when you're in there fighting, you know. And some people go in and they win, and I love that attitude now that people are starting to get. O'Malley has it. What's the other guy now from Manchester? Real good guy.
In England, in the UFC?
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
From Manchester?
Two brothers.
It's not Leon Edwards.
Leon Edwards.
Is he Manchester?
Yeah, from Manchester, I think.
Right, yeah.
But they same as well. They're saying like, no, like, I'm making money here. You know what I mean? I'm fighting where the attitude used to be like, I'll fight anyone for free. You know what I mean? It's like that's gone, and it needs to be because
100%.
People take advantage of it.
So what do you think about the fighter play on that subject? And like, do you side with the fighters who give out about it saying it's not enough, or do you think?
Good question.
That's a great question. Yeah, but the way it is in any kind of job or any kind of thing, it is you are what you're worth, you know, and you've got to put your worth into it. And I do agree with this. So I agree with like there's a big roster and everyone gets millions and all. You wouldn't get them fighting, man. Yeah. I swear to God, that's the way to do it. Nobody would fight anymore. Everyone gets a little bit comfortable and they don't want to fight anymore. And I know that sounds mad. There's only a rare few people, and the people that do make it to the top and make a lot of money are usually the ones that are obsessed and that they will fight no matter what. You know what I mean? Like,
you know one of them personally, don't you?
Yes, of course. You know, now, here and even that's like oh yeah, that's still in me. You know what I mean? Like I'm 33 now. You give me the right matchup and give me the medicals, I'll fight. I'm fighting, no problem. You know what I mean? And I'm not really, not that I'm not asking about the money, but I know that it's a big number now. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I'm fighting in the 3 Arena or something like that now, and I'm fighting somewhere. Say it was it could be pay-per-view. It would go well. You know what I mean? Someone would be turning in to see some politician getting his face smashed in. Someone, you know what I'm saying?
I'll buy that pay-per-view.
Yeah, you know.
Do you reckon that adds to your value now that you're involved in?
Well, I still do some grappling competitions. I'm probably the only person that is elected on the whole planet, probably, that would put themselves in a place where, like, I would do interviews, like a live interview here. I would, like, I have nothing to hide, you know. I am who I am, and even in the political world, I'm not there. It's not a career for me. I even hate that P word, that politician word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are like, well, it was actually The Rock yesterday turned around. I think it said that, like, I'm not a politician. I don't know politics. And I was going to write a comment, and I said, it's The Rock. Fuck, I'm just going to go on with my life. But we don't need politicians now. If anything, we need less politicians. If anything, we need people that have integrity. They have proved their integrity. That are real. We need people to represent the people, you know. We don't need the son of the 10th politician in a row going in there, or the daughter, and representing and doing the same thing. You know what they're going to represent? They're going to represent a bank account, and that's it. And that's where we're at now, you know. Like, so people like The Rock and stuff like that and all. Maybe they are the people we need. Like, we'll go into this in a little bit. Anyway, we have it.
While we were talking about money, Jay, I'm going to let you crack on, because I know Jay has done a lot of the preparation for this, so this is his baby. But I wanted to ask you, it could be a bit of a touchy subject, but about the whole Jake Paul situation. What's your thoughts on all that?
To be honest, I think he's probably one of the people that's saying the most about fire pay. And he's doing a good job at representing it. And I think Dana was apparently when someone was moaning about the pay, and he's like, "Well, you should have been a YouTuber then." And it's like, that was brilliant.
You wouldn't be
that's
surprised
it.
if Jake Paul is angling for a knockoff Dana on pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? He's a lunatic.
He's on. Yeah, listen, he's on the ball when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to like
the fighting, what do you think of the fighting?
Comes to the fight, I think he's getting better. So maybe because he's a millionaire, he has the idea to be able to, like, he gets to go against people as they go up, you know, where someone starts off, they've got to do it amateur and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I personally think that's fair. Like, Jake Paul, in my opinion, deserves, like, I know what Jay and probably Martin is probably two people that disagree with it, that he should walk his way up. He's walked his way up in a different way. Do you know what I mean? In my opinion,
I believe that.
People say he doesn't deserve to fight him. He doesn't, but he does, because he's making them the most money they've ever made. Like, look at the whole Tyson fucking Tommy Fury fucking situation. Do you know what I mean? He made him the most money he's ever made, and now potentially he's gonna make him fucking 4 times that.
He has to beat him.
To be honest, I think that's getting a little bit embarrassing, boys. You know what I mean? To be honest, it's like, I think Tommy Fury is absolutely begging him for it. You know what I mean? Like, and
I think he's
thirsty for it.
Yeah, look, well, he wants the money, however, he knows that, but it's kind of like, it was like, I'll shut this YouTuber up, and now it's kind of like, please let me shut this YouTuber up. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a big bag of money as well. And you know what? Listen, they have families out there, and I understand that, and a lot of other people probably wouldn't understand that side of it. So they have families, you know what I mean? So anyone that's out there having a knock and making money from it, I put wind in your sails. You know what I mean? I'm with you. I think it's great. You know what I mean?
Who wins that fight?
What fight?
Tommy and Jake.
I think Tommy wins it, to be honest, because he's probably got more boxing, and he has Tommy Fury. You know what I mean?
He's a big old boot.
He's gonna have another big old bukin in his corner. You know what I mean?
If he doesn't win that fight, he's getting punched around twice that night.
Well, they said that they'll never let him fight again.
Yeah.
Straight out of boxing if that happens.
Would you say that's genuinely in the contract, like Tommy fumbles? Like, will he genuinely have to change his name?
Would he get a fucking tattoo for fuck's sake?
Well, in fairness, that was on his back. That was him. That was him screaming for a rematch, saying, "Please give me more money."
I don't think the money would have landed in his account without that, probably.
Yeah,
really?
Listen, it's
that was more of a gentleman's agreement. No,
that was in the contract, wasn't it?
The tattoo?
It
wasn't.
No,
the tattoo was a hat. No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Because he had the tattoo artist there.
He kept saying he wasn't doing it.
Sorry, you're right.
Tyron Woodley kept saying he's not getting it.
But I don't think that was in the contract. I think that was just like a gentleman's agreement, more so.
No, I'd say
I could be wrong.
I'd say, see, because when they start mentioning it and stuff like that and all, I'd say it had to be in the contract. You know? Probably put it in the contract, and Tyrone really probably didn't read the contract. Probably seen the digits flick to the last page.
Probably
to do. And what am I getting? Who cares what I have to do in between now and then? You know what I mean?
Fair
well,
point.
On the flip side of that, now there's two people who don't need the money that are fighting, and that's Logan Paul and Mike Tyson.
Are they fighting?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. I think Logan Paul batters him.
What?
Yeah.
Are you messing with me?
No, I swear to God, I think Logan Paul batters him.
Mike Tyson
He's
fight Roy
savage.
Jones.
Yes.
He's a savage still.
You won't beat him.
I'll take that bet.
Right, another one.
Yeah,
20 quid.
With the bets.
20 quid.
I'm having Tyson
I
off.
feel like they're just handing money over. I don't think anybody's gaining here. They're just swapping money.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not really. Not that I don't know about the result and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm like. I think Tyson has done what he has done for the sport, and I think, like, as I said, like,
He's gonna ruin himself.
But if he doesn't need the money, he needs to not do this. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
I
that's
agree
it.
with that. I think it's a stupid decision from
I
him.
think of, it was a Holyfield or Evander Holyfield. Was
Yeah,
talking
that
Holyfield,
was awful.
yeah.
See that
Yeah,
one?
Vito
well, see that, but
Belfort.
like that goes to show to me as a coach, right? So obviously you're gonna,
Yeah.
I'm going to answer all your questions. So, so me as a
Fit
coach,
you into the
my
hour.
idea-
Go on. Just say whatever you think we're going to answer.
Me as a coach, right? My job now is to make people not make the mistakes I've made. You know what I mean? And make them better than me.
Yeah.
So sometimes it gets to a stage where, say, I don't know, students probably getting better than their coach and stuff like that, and then the coach gets a little bit of a weird ego about it and all. I don't have that, you know what I mean? To me,
We're proud to see
yeah,
that.
I can inspire my lads, and I'm rolling with my lads and girls today, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
I know,
I'm in there,
yeah.
I'm in the trenches with them with that.
Yeah.
I've gone to Everest, made it to the top of it. Yeah. Everest in the fight world is
He's
the
done it with
UFC.
UFC.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's a few
Have we
of them
really?
out there. Everest. Everest.
I was responding to your daughter on Insta.
Yeah,
or on,
do us a favour, Jay.
YouTube,
Just make
but
sure that gets clipped, will you?
I was writing back to Amelia. Sorry, lads.
So I think in that idea, I'm trying to show people how to build a brand, how to make money as well, and how to enjoy it. Because some people have 2 or 3 amateur fights and then go, you know what, I enjoy this, but it's probably not the rest of their life. You know.
Yeah.
Then you see some people that the opposite. Some people, I have a fight for the crack, and then they're like, oh my god,
You have to be worried a bit different,
I
don't
can
you?
do this. No, not really. I think you have to be if you understand fighting. Fighting is scary and stuff like that. But when you get over that, do you know what's scary? Going to work 9 to 5 till you're 68.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, nail it.
And by the time that happens with this government, you'll be 70 by the time you're retiring, and that'll be it. They'll just keep pushing it up. Do you know why? Because you keep spending all the fucking money. That's why they're like, there's no pension left. You better push that up.
Well, you mentioned coaching, so let's go back to the other side of it, to when you were a student. So, when you first walked into an MMA gym, was jiu-jitsu something that immediately appealed to you, or was it first day?
First class, I was in love. It was like falling in love. Swear to God. Like I drove home, I turned around to my mate Dean, who was the kids coordinator in my place now. So Dean, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
100%. After that day, I was just hooked.
What was it about jiu-jitsu specifically?
I think the idea as well, coming in, so that it was SPG was only like SPG was probably not too much bigger than probably what this building is here. You know, not this room, but this building. Right? And so John was kind of
Is this Long Mall?
No, this was Racool.
Right.
So John was small as well, kind of similar size to me. And kind of, he wasn't this kind of like big intimidating black belt, you know, where I'd gone to some cracky clubs and all, and it'd kind of be like, oh, I don't know, you know what I mean? But John was really like, hey, how we getting on? Shook my hand, and I loved the atmosphere straight away. So went into the atmosphere. I remember the first guy I trained and stuff like that with as well, and then I won't say I passed him out and stuff like that, but I could kind of attitude has a lot to do with it. Yeah, the ability to learn, the ability to win.
Had to be a sponge.
Yeah, your ego. No, not just a sponge. You have to be willing to be like, I'm wrong. Hold my hands up, and then I move on, and we go in a different direction, or you get something else, and that's it.
I remember the first jiu-jitsu class I had, and I remember someone got me in like a guillotine, and just the feeling of it. Obviously, the way it was said to me in training is the second you get it in, just tap, because you know we're training. You know what I mean? Just tap, get it over, we go again, type of thing. But when I got put in a choke, it was like this weird feeling. Right, I tapped and then you go again. It's like this is. I loved it. I was hooked. It was like, it was so good. Like
in that moment, sorry, just
go ahead.
In that moment, that's a battlefield. I love that. You died today.
It's like chess with people.
And you get to come back.
Yeah.
And your body doesn't really know the difference between tapping and all this kind of thing. So when you're going into a fight, your body's thinking like, I'm going to die today, or I'm going to win and I'm going to live. And that goes straight back to like the fight, flight, or freeze. But that's the core of it. There's not like, that's why everyone's jumping off like parasails or parachutes and all. Fighting is the rawest form of that. That's it broke down into like purest form. Your body thinks you're going to die.
Do you remember how you felt on your first fight?
Yeah, well, I thought I was going to die.
Just explain that one, Jay.
No, but I couldn't imagine the feeling of walking into, like, going from a locker room to a cage. Like, that's fucking nuts to me.
Do you get that like feeling? You know what feeling I'm talking about? The nervous feeling, like you're not shaking, but your inside shaking type things. You know what I mean? Did you get that your first fight, or did you even still get that in your last fight?
See, and even like now in life now, like them feelings are always going to come no matter what. And when you deal with that big, huge one that comes at the start, everything else gets easier, you know? Like, you know, it's mad. I was on the Tommy Tiernan show and they asked me nothing about fighting. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because
Yeah.
you mustn't give a shit about the fighting, Paddy. They say something that we can get you in trouble with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is all fighting, so this is great, which is brilliant. But yeah, so the feeling of going out to the fight is that here's what changes, right? We jump up now, I jump on you, you're gonna fight back, and it's just,
He won't.
He's like, no. But listen, people fight back. Do you know what I mean? In a way, like instinctively, if you have fight
course,
fire
yeah.
freeze in you, so
Yeah.
you run, you'll freeze, or you'll fight back, one or
Yeah.
the other. And the thing about fighting is that 8 weeks before that this problem's coming down the road. So it just gets closer and closer and closer and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I see people that and this is kind of the trail of it, like someone's really they're posting on Facebook, they're posting pictures and stuff like that. And then I say, okay, do you want to fight? And they go, yeah. And they do it excitedly. And I'm like, I can nearly tell by the way they're saying yeah to the fight. They post it up, I'm fighting 3 weeks later. And then it starts getting closer. And then I start seeing it getting like, Paddy, like, you know, when he does this, and the worry, and it's all pouring on top. And that's to do with how you get rid of that is breathing in cold water. So like the Wim Hof method in a way. So breathing out them feelings, going into cold water. When you go into the sea, right, jump into the sea, same feeling that happens there is what it's like to fight.
Right.
So you jump in, like,
You lose your
yeah,
breath.
and someone's talking to you, and you're like, I can't even listen to him. Like, I'm trying to, this cold water's killing me. But then after a few minutes, it goes, the water chills. Now, you probably haven't done it in years. As kids, you would do it all the time. And then you'd be like, it's actually warm now, boys.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's what fighting's like. So it means that your body has relaxed. It's chilled a little bit, and it's realised, like, you're in fight mode now.
Has that amplified though when, let's say, you were fighting on the regional scene, compared to the UFC? The second you go into the UFC, the stage is bigger. There's a bigger audience. There's more people watching. Do them feelings amplify? Did you get bigger? Like,
I'm glad you weren't there, to be honest, because you would have made me more nervous. Yeah, no.
I was in the crowd, don't worry.
Yeah. I'm glad you weren't in the dressing room.
Stay there.
But I just see, to try not trying to think of them, like, it's none of my business what other people are thinking outside and all this. My job is I'm in here, and like everyone else attached to that, and even that, I'm not looking at that. I'm not even looking at, like, you're gonna be famous after this, but I can't think. I'm thinking about feeding my family at that time. Like, I'm coming up, and I'm like, this is it, Paddy. You put 10 years into this, you know what I mean? And not only that, but you've told people, and they've looked at you in a way of like,
yeah.
God help you. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to make it. And then me back went, and they're like, this was all falling apart at the same time. And I'm like, no, I'm good at this. If there's everything I'm good at in my life, it's this.
Yeah.
I'm good at fighting. I can fight, and I will stay in there until I'm unconscious somewhere. You know what I mean? And that's it. I can live with that. So maybe I was on a little bit of a...
Is there a different confidence though? Because like I go back to school days. I remember going back to school and someone saying they want to fight you after school, and even though, like, so let's say some of the lads you knew you'd punch around, you still got nervous in the lead up.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
I only had me like a first straightener, let's say, a year ago, and I had that same feeling that I had when I was a kid before the fight. But once you're fighting, it goes, obviously. But the lead up to like the fight actually happening, that's when you're kind of, whether you think you're gonna win or lose, them feelings are still fucking there. It's very hard to explain. Like,
That doesn't happen to Marty though. He pants people out for a living, don't you, Marty?
But Garvey, like, imagine that you're walking out to have that knock and that little bit of fear you have in you, and then imagine there's 10,000 people there watching.
that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying, like, you're never afraid that you're going to get badly hurt. You're always just more worried of the embarrassment of losing the fight, I think.
You know what that is? That's the human's greatest ever weapon, was ridicule. And that's it. And we're all afraid of that, you know.
I like that one, Paddy. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's the human's great. That's what governments use. That's why all is used, ridicule. Everyone's afraid to be ridiculed, and that's it. They'll all jump in behind whatever narrative it takes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's like, so to me, going out there, I didn't care about everyone in the crowd. That's, as I said, I had such a personal feeling in this, like, where, like, I'm loose. You can be, the nerves can get you. The nerves are like a candle, all right? Candle can light your house, can heat your house, but it can also burn your house to the ground.
Yeah.
And that's the same way nerves should be treated, you know? Nerves are, that's exactly what they are. And what you just said there, you answered your own question there. Before it, your body is struggling with the stages of fight, flight, or freeze.
and
And that goes all the way back to the cave, right? So that goes back to caveman times. These feelings and this stuff that we have in our body, that's where anxiety and all comes from. So anxiety comes from a mixture of, say when you were in the cave and you left your fire, your mind was always thinking about that fire, because you can't just go back and light it with a lighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's got, don't go too far. Have we got enough food? Have we got all these anxieties? But what happens now is our life is flooded with this stuff. We don't live in that jungle anymore. We live in this jungle now, you know what I mean? And this is worse, to be honest.
couldn't agree more.
You know what I mean? And I don't mean Clondalkin. I mean as in life and civilization. So what happens with you,
Sorry,
there?
Jay.
Get him down. So the idea of what you did there is your body made the decision. Was it going to run? Was it going to freeze? Or was it going to fight?
Yeah.
So when you're like, but when you're in the middle of it, it's grand.
Yeah.
Exactly, because your body is now clicked
You've
into
no
the
choice,
gear of
yeah.
fight. No, but some people freeze.
Yeah.
Some people are in a fight and they're just getting punched in the face, right? And that would be a survival mechanism from the jungle as well. Because a saber-toothed tiger in himself, sometimes I freeze and he just walks by and it walks and still in us, but we're in the jungle. We're not in the jungle
Fair
anymore.
point, yeah.
But it's the real. It's the real way.
100%, yeah.
And then the run away is you run away, and if he catches you, you die tired.
Yeah.
But if you fight, you win, you live. But if you lose, you die. So in them decisions, that's why your body's in such a panic and having such a reaction to it, because it remembers that if them decisions went wrong, we died that day.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to freeze, sometimes you'll have to run, sometimes you'll have to fight. So I just kind of broke it down to a lot of sports psychology and stuff like that.
You sound very stoic almost. Like, would that be like the mindset that you've always had, or was this something that was kind of like brought to you through MMA in terms of discipline and stuff?
Well, it develops, and I grew up in a tricky kind of childhood, you know what I mean, in a way as well, where like now my mother was always amazing, never drank, never done drugs, never beat me or anything like that, you know what I mean? But it was pretty crazy. It was me, my sister and my mum in Jobstown. When Jobstown was a little bit sticky, do you know what I mean? It was like the out with the next door to give you a dig in the head, and that'd be it. Like, there'd be no guard around, it'd be just dig in the head. Over it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think maybe that built me up as well, you know. So never really went well for me as a kid in fighting. People like, well, you're always a great fighter. No, I don't even think I don't think I am a great fighter, you know, compared to the average Joe, probably, you know what I mean? But I never would have said I was a great fighter. I'd say I'm a great coach.
Yeah.
I would. I'm a better coach than I am fighter, and I always have been. I see the game just so different to anybody else, and that's what I'm excited about now in life, you know. I see this. I've always been walking to a coaching role. Even like when we were in the thing, and I was like probably 18 or 19, I knew I wanted to be a coach at that time. And they were like, yeah, but you'll go and work in like fly fit or something. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not that kind of coach. I'm not against people that work on fly fit or anything.
Yeah.
But I just did not want to be standing on the desk, like, you know what I mean, teaching somehow and not to bring our knees over our toes and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I wanted to be involved with like human development, like bringing kids from my housing estate and showing them there's a way, there's a path. It doesn't have to be all the other paths that we can go down. And I don't always condemn them paths. I understand them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't condone them, but I understand them.
Yeah.
So
sometimes people just don't have a fucking choice. Like,
and sometimes people don't have a washer, and they don't have direction, and they don't have and I've got friends, like I've got a few friends that live around here actually. In Weefield. Yeah, because the prison's not far from here, no. I was like, oh, my mates live down here.
you have a very good reputation though, Paddy. Like, a lot of people, even when we were getting you on, saying like Paddy does so much for the community. So what kind of work do you do around the community that people are obviously big fan of you for, you know?
Everything. Like I want to give more from this life than I take. Right? And that's always been the way. And I mean that in every single sense of it, you know. Like now I don't want to be taken advantage of, like just rip them off. Like the homelessness thing gets to me, really gets to me. Like it gets to me in a way that like people are now the homelessness situation in this country is created, and it's getting worse, boys. And it's systematic for profit. And I know that sounds like he sounds a little bit of like one of them conspiracy theory, but we'll go into that now in a second as well. What that conspiracy theory works. It's very easy to dismiss massive facts with that. Nobody wants to be involved with that. You know why? Because we ridiculed.
But the reason these conspiracies are so popular is because every now and again they get proven right, like the JFK thing. I mean, like,
do you know that's where conspiracy came from?
What, the
JFK thing?
Yeah.
Do you know the whole story?
No.
So JFK supposedly, when JFK was killed, Lee Harvey Oswald was dragged into a room. You see, there's a videotape of this, and he's saying, "I did not shoot the police officer. I did not shoot that officer." He thought he killed a policeman. And then when he comes out, by the time he gets to the car, some guy walks up and shoots him, and that's it. Harvey Oswald did it. And it was like, and if you said that more than that, you must be mentally ill. And then it's like, there's a word for it, it's conspiracy theory. It's like the word social distance. Now,
Oh, here we go. Here it is.
Look at social distance. It should be physical distance if we're doing this for the virus.
Yeah. Fair point.
Why would you have the word social? You look at Google the word social and then put it beside distance and you go, actually, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's physical distance. So physical distance is the word we should be using, not social distance. But wording is everything. So if someone doesn't want to be a conspiracy theorist,
It's trying to pretty it up, like.
well, it's not. It's actually kind of breaking people apart. It's keeping people away from each
No,
other.
but the way the wording was used is to try and not make it sound so fucking. Do you know what I mean?
Well, like social. Just,
Never thought of it like
isn't
that.
it
Yeah,
not? No,
yeah.
no, most people don't, because let me tell you one thing. There's people getting paid a lot more than me and a lot more than you to be coming up with this
I
stuff.
don't know about that.
And
I'm only joking. I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
There's a lot of people sitting around desks that are smart thinking this stuff. These words don't just pop out. Like,
Yeah.
all of these words that you hear, these like.
I mean, that's mad, isn't it?
It is mad, yeah, it's crazy.
Like, that just had that blow my mind there.
So anyway, I've been showing printed everywhere, social distance. Right, so that means I shouldn't be talking to you now because we're at physical distance.
Yeah.
But they're demanding that maybe I shouldn't talk
I
to
know,
you now.
yeah.
So it's
I'm trying to
weird.
censor you, Hooligan.
Fucking nuts.
You gotta be censor. Listen.
Say that camera right there, Paddy. Go on.
What Darren Hill said, you can't censor someone who can't be censored. You know what I mean? And that's it. That is the way, because let me tell you, like,
Give me my Instagram back,
yeah, lizards. They're censoring people out there, boys, that have more like medical qualifications and peer reviewed than everybody together. Basically, there's a group of doctors out there, and that they've censored them, and I think they have 2,000 peer reviewed pieces of literature, basically.
Yeah.
So which means that they put it out there that the whole world can scrutinise it, any medical word can scrutinise it, which means it stays peer reviewed.
Yeah.
So the peer review stuff, and it's like, yeah, but we don't like what you're saying.
Did you actually watch the Joe Rogan? He had this, like, that was.
I haven't watched him in a while.
Oh no, Joe
Yeah, no,
basically,
neither
Joe refused to take it as an answer. He just kept on going back to it. He kept on,
But you see, a lot of his stuff gets censored as well now. So with his Spotify, whatever goes to YouTube, there's like certain bits that, like, his podcast is now officially edited. You know what I mean? Whereas when he would post,
No, it's just
he sold it for 100 mil.
it's just because it's an exclusive on Spotify, so he's not allowed to put everything on YouTube. That's what that is. If you go on to Spotify, everything is 100% on that. So that's where I watch his podcast. I don't go to YouTube. I go to
only a
Spotify.
few
no,
weirdos
people
left
don't
in the
on
world,
YouTube.
lads.
It's just
Protested him in
clips.
week 1, the Spotify staff. Week 1, they went out protesting Rogan after they signed him.
Really?
Yeah.
Who would be the heroes, Paddy?
There's a lot of heroes out there. There's a guy named Marcus Broom, doctor. I don't know if you know him. Like, but he's been vilified from the start of this, right? So he was basically one of the doctors who looked after the care home. He was one of the right hand men to the health service in Ireland at that time, until they decided that no, you're not saying what we want you to say now, so you're not that person anymore. So basically, Simon Harris had appointed this guy, was high up, Marcus de Broom. Marcus de Broom, I think his name is. I can never mention his name, but he's a doctor anyway. High level. This guy was saying that if we move people from the care home, from the hospital settings into a care home setting, we are going to cause a lot of deaths. This is basically like going to kill people. 12 of his own patients died after this happened. So, don't know if a lot of people know this, and I will be calling for an investigation into this in the council. I'll be calling on the government to have an investigation into it, and we probably will end up as the mother and baby home situation here in Ireland. What happens is we've got this ruling hand. The electoral system is not really understood in a way of like, if somebody gets in the 15th count and stuff like that and all. Do you understand what that means?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah, no, haven't a clue.
Right there. No, that's good. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Because I'll explain that now in a second. Because that is what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with the whole thing.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't. Like you look at The Simpsons, it's like vote Bart number 1, vote Bart number 9. No one's calling for vote. Yeah, but give us your number 3 or your 4 or your 5 or your 6 or your 7. They are, and that's why if you look at all of our government, I think it's only one of our government that's in there basically now was voted in on the first vote. So which means the only one that got number 1, I think it was Sleepyhead. No,
Eamon Ryan.
Yeah,
No way.
yeah, we know. Yeah, so
Why did you want to go into politics?
I didn't, but someone needs to do it, and that's what my granddad's always used to say to me. You know what I mean? If you think someone needs to do something about that.
Be the change you want to see in the
That's
world.
That's you. And but this whole censorship, and Marcus say when he was censored, he said all this. He's still talking about this. They try to take his doctor's license away from him. And now here we go. Right, we're in a situation now where April 2020 was the only excess deaths that we have had. So in a pandemic, what the excess deaths meaning that a higher month than the year before or the year before. Now I think when we finished off the end of the year, we basically had 300 excess deaths. Okay, which means we only had 300 more than the year before. But we had 2,500 COVID deaths.
It's not
And
weighing
then
out, yeah.
people will go, oh yeah, but there was lockdowns. All right, sound, we'll give you that. Now this year, you want to see on RIP.ie, and at the end of this year, I will predict this now, you can put this after this. This will be the largest amount of deaths that we've ever had as a country in Ireland now. Right? A virus doesn't get worse either, lads. So a virus doesn't come along and be like, now there's a new this variant and that variant. There is variants, but the variants are not worse. The variants are weaker. That's how they make vaccines, basically.
Yeah.
So if the Delta variant's coming and then there's another variant, brilliant, because it's going to get people sick. If COVID wasn't as dangerous as they were saying, well, then the new variant is going to give them the adjustable immunity, and then it's the safest way possible. Now, we're not saying getting COVID is the safest way possible. But what I'm saying is that if you've had COVID and you have immunity, it's beyond doubt that you have it's 27 times better than the vaccination if you have had COVID.
Yeah, that's what your mum was saying on Joe Rogan as well.
And the 27 number comes from the reviews. Look, I'm just pulling it out of the sky. But it'll be like, shut up, Paddy, you bleeding lunatic, you bleeding crazy, get back in your box. Like, I'm just so...
You'd be shocked by how many people actually reach out to you and just tell you, fuck off, will you, with your bleeding narratives and all or whatever. Just some people don't want to kind of understand or learn or whatever. They just think whatever you were saying, it's bollocks. You just don't have the time to hear it.
Don't attack them. I had a lad today message me, lads, and what do I even say? Yeah, but like there's stuff got, like, I have seen the morgue report basically of his father's death. So he had the vaccine and died 13 days later. Right? Never had any comorbidities, none of this kind of stuff going on. I'm not against anybody getting the vaccine. I'm not against masks. I'm not against you whatever. We'll grow whatever.
You do what you want, I do what I
garden,
want, yeah.
And you grow whatever flowers you want in your garden. And that's what I say. And then we can be neighbours. But when you cross that line, we're turning into Mad Max times, you know what I mean? In a way, I'm going to be coming across and robbing your flowers in a minute. I'm shut up. Oh, well, like, that's what we need to be doing, but that's not the case anymore. Now, listen, I can't get the vaccine, right? I can't. I had to retire. In fact, at 13. I can't get it. It says if I get it in the letter I got off the doctor, they wouldn't even say that I couldn't get it. They were like,
give us a photocopy of that, will you?
Can't get it, but it's kind of like, in a way, if we got the vaccine, okay, what happens is that if we got the clotting problem, that isn't it?
Yeah,
I would
the
end
blood
up in a
clot,
bad
yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
And it says it on the letter, he would end up in a bad situation.
I think that's most famous in the Johnson one, isn't it? I think that's known for the blood clots, I think.
Do you know what I'd say? I don't know. There's people out there like going, yeah, but it's only like blood clots. Like, my grand mate.
Jeez, yeah, blood clot.
But it's only like myocarditis. That myocarditis is not as rare as people are saying. I've heard, like, 3 people told me today that they have been diagnosed with myocarditis. So, as I said, I'm not here to bash it or anything, but I will not be on the wrong side of history when this comes around. I'm not against vaccines. I have more vaccines than most people listening to this. I'm a professional fighter, and I have to take a supplement. So I'm vaccinated against hepatitis C, hepatitis B. I think it is. Maybe got them wrong there. Like, he doesn't even know what vaccines he has. But I have more vaccines than most people. You know what I mean?
But that's the fact you don't know what you have is more of a reason for you to get it than not. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I seen a lot of posts on social media, people do cocaine and fucking ketamine and everything else, but they won't do the vaccine, and people are saying these are all fucking idiots. But you know what really roiled my blood now? I seen a post there, I think it was only last week, and I don't know whether it's all schools or just one particular school, said that the students can't go on the debs unless they're vaccinated. Like, that is fucking, that is disgraceful.
That's medical discrimination straight away. And anybody that says and let me tell you one thing, next year they'll be holding a pride flag in one hand and they'll be holding a non-vaccinated flag in the other hand, right? Or non-vaccinated sign in the other hand. You lose your privilege to start talking about equality and all this kind of stuff when you're there. No, we'll discriminate against that person. I'm for all equality. I'm for everybody to be equal in every single way. Do you know what I mean? Now, we don't mean that as in like crazy, like mad left socialism, you know what I mean? You have your few quid and I have my few quid. I don't care what you have, and we don't always, everyone gets the same. It doesn't work like that. But the idea is that if you want to be gay, if you want to marry a man, if you want to whatever, I am for you, I'm with you, you know what I mean? And I will support you and I'll fight someone to the death that says that they can't, you know?
No, you totally agree with that.
But the same person that will agree with us with this will go, but like, you see the way people are talking, Pat Kenny and stuff like that about people. Shame on them. That's why I say shame on them.
I don't know what's happening there.
They're literally talking about unvaccinated people like that. I think someone the other day, not Pat Kenny because I'll be sued or something here, but someone on a mainstream media.
I seen the video you shared today.
Said
Actually,
it was the same as drunk driving, not getting the vaccine. Basically, it's saying you're taking the same risk. Like, now, listen, if the vaccine was okay, 100% knocked it out of the park, and we'd no more COVID, and the only people who had COVID were people that were unvaccinated, the only people that were dying.
Then you'd encourage it.
Then would you not even encourage it, because do whatever you want with your own body. I would say he might have some sort of basis in that point, but he's saying, I took it. And even Pat Kenny goes, they think, like, what have you got? They're going to be calling us idiots, saying that we took it, and now they're allowed to come in.
Yeah.
Hold on, what that's nothing to do with what we're talking about here, Pat, you know? You're now a little bit sick that you took it and someone else didn't take it, and you don't want to be standing beside somebody else because they decided not to take it, and you feel a little bit foolish. That's your own problem, mate.
So I just can't justify it. Like, what's the difference if you have it, if you don't? There's nothing. They say it makes you less sick. That's it. I'd rather take the chance of getting more sick.
That's it. How can you even say that? Like, there was a thing in the newspaper that said, okay, a guy had said that, thankfully I had the vaccine and it saved my life when I was in ICU. It's like, how do you know that? Because if you had took the vaccine and died the day after, I wouldn't have been allowed to say that you died from the vaccine. So it's like, okay, you can't do this. Yeah. We need proper debate on this. We need proper discussion. And let me tell you, this is a crazy time in history. When you open a history book, okay, say you go from 1937 to 1947, a lot happened in that time in history. Okay?
This is
There are a few pages.
Yeah,
we're living in them pages right here, right now. That's why it takes so long. So in 2 years, that's only this in history. That, like, if you go from 1916 to 1919, basically we had a revolution and then we had an election, and a 32 county election where basically Ireland was free. Ireland was announced free in 1919. Did you know that? Yeah, it's in the if you go to Kevin Barry's grave out in Glasnevin, it's there in literally in stone. It says it on it. It says that they ignored the democratic will of the people, basically. And then in 1921, we signed up to an Irish Free State, which Michael Collins brought back from England, and gave away 6 counties. But 32 counties voted on the 1998.
Speaking of them counties, do you think we'll ever get them back?
The only way we're going to get them back is through integration, and that's a lot of stuff I work with. So you asked about community stuff, so we would work with cross-borders communications. I work a lot with the homeless. I would work a lot with mental health kind of places. I would work with self-defense. Like, so much. We go on all day here, but in a little bit of everything with it. There's a program called Fight to Unite. So what happens is we bring Catholics, Protestants, and people from the South, and they come together and they train together. And it was actually a guy named Danny Carr who runs this up the north, and Danny's a great guy for this, you know. So I'm involved in a lot of this, and that's the only way we're going to get this, because people think that they divide and conquer. They divide and conquer all of the time. So what we need to do is we need to make people realise that it's them dividing us. The only division is between the people. I have more in common with someone from a council estate in Manchester than I do from, say, Howth. And that's just being straight, you know. My girlfriend's from Liverpool, and I have more in common with her than some people I do from, say, Terranure down the road from me. And I'm not saying these places are bad. These are good places, but I think it's just different. It's different classes, and Ireland has just been pushing that class thing so hard, like, in a way where it's like think about it. Leo Varadkar went in and a sign was social welfare cheats cheat us all. I'm going to go in on a sign and saying corrupt politicians cheat us all.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because and
you like that, don't you?
I like that.
They're the biggest gangsters.
And then put in an armband and snap it.
The only reason, like, gangsters, they never go to jail.
Yeah.
They threw a few bankers in jail after the yoke. They did a year or two and got out and still had all that money and all this. You know what I mean? It's like, someone has to go down for this.
Still paying USC.
They crashed their whole country basically and bailed out the banks. And the same people are running this. Like, not only that, the same parties locked up our younger our young women in homes and took their babies and sold them. And the babies were ill-treated, and some of them died, and they buried them in the back garden without coroner's reports, without doctors seeing them. I'm a nun, so sound. Now, not all of them, but they're all documented. Sean Rasabi, so I've been involved with something. This Sean Rasabi, I don't know if you've heard about this, right? So Sean Rasabi is one of the only non-state-owned mother and baby homes in the country now. So all the rest are state-owned.
Right.
So what we've done is, a girl named Rachel Kyo was on a campaign, and she reached out to me, and it was in her infancy and stuff like that. So I kind of like, absolutely. My mother was in a mother and baby home on the Navan Road. So I've skin in the game here, you know.
So, well, yeah, but what is a mother and baby home?
So
Paddy?
mother and baby home is if you got pregnant back in the day and outside wedlock, alright, you are basically like sinned. And this could be anything. Like this could be rape. This could be anything. You know what I mean? It could be incest. It could be all sorts going on. And they punished young women in this country badly. Like they put them in homes, told them they were like basically like terrible. You know, like for their sins they have to do this. And then they took the babies off them and they opened up an adoption agency. And they adopted these kids to America for money, you know. And if you had £100, you could free yourself from the mother and baby home. So people that were poor, another class issue is what I'm saying. Now, here's the reason why I'm even mentioning this, because there's 1,090 babies that were either born or crossed the door in Sean Ross Abbey in Tipperary, and we don't know where they are. Nobody knows where they are. That's insane. But we're looking for them. And we're not stopping. I'm only 33 now, and we're not stopping.
Who's we, Paddy?
Rachel's not going to stop. There's loads of different campaigns for this. There's survivors, and there's many survivors, and their wishes all have to be respected in this. So there's like they locked up the mother and baby files there for 30 years. So basically everything that happened, and even in that they were snaky guys. So what they did is there was an investigation where you could do an investigation to say what happened to you in this home. So say if they come to you and say you've got two options, you can do an investigation. And that's going to be intrusive. That's going to be me, basically, like the police poking through what happened in your life. Or we can do like a kind of like a non-disclosed one, you know, like where only 13 people, maybe the number's wrong, I could be right up to on the number, only 13 people out of thousands went for the investigation one. Because obviously everyone else wants the one that's like private confidential.
Yeah.
So you can only use 13 reports on this.
Yeah.
All the other ones got scrapped.
It's fucked up, innit?
Fucked up, absolutely, boys. There's some kids down there were left out in the sun. They died from the sun. There was some kids that choked on porridge, basically. You know?
How long ago was this?
This is only in like not too long ago. This is only in like the 70s. The last mother and baby home closed in 1996.
I never heard that about this ever.
Because
Mother and baby home's been in the news for ages.
no one's going to tell you this stuff. No one's going to say this stuff.
It's,
And
it's
I would be here.
I just don't look for it though. Do you know what I mean? It's not
yeah.
that like I choose to not listen. It never came across my radar. You know what I mean?
If this country was ran by people that had integrity, there's 5 million people on this island that's economically kind of like basing on that. Like, so when you don't count the north, because the economic thing is not together. Do you get me? I mean, so I believe the north of Ireland, the north of Ireland or Northern Ireland or whatever people want to call it, the Northern Ireland, to me, that's Ireland.
If you could
It's
build
all
your dream team, Paddy, your dream team of let's say 5 people to make a change in the country, who would it be?
There's not many teams that you can do out there, right? But I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think teaming actually makes it weaker, and I only realised that by actually before when I went into behind the Iron Curtain, basically, or whatever it was. Elected, I started realising like, oh shit! Like, you know, it's like it's illegal for you to vote against your party. So basically, when you're in there, if one person's the leader and they're saying this is what we're doing and this is what we're going,
No,
with,
well, let's not.
you can't go against that.
That's fucked up.
I don't mean officially. right? If you were to take 5 people that you think could help change everything you want, basically, for the country.
Me, Tupac. I mean, is this like fantasy political team, is it? You know what I mean?
Fucking why not go there?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, right? There's a lot of amazing people in this country. There is, political wise as well. So, Michael McNamara is very savvy in what he's doing. Catrell Connolly, I think her name is. She's really good as well. Owen O'Brien is incredible as well. Owen O'Brien is when it comes to housing, I think he's probably one of the best around. Yeah, he's obsessed with housing for some reason. Yeah, so he's really good at that. There's the Healy Rays and stuff like that. In a way, they're not like me, you know what I mean, in that way, but they look after what they need to be looking after in their area, in that way, you know what I mean?
Big business owners now, aren't you?
Yeah, big business owners in that way, but they're in the interest of the farmers and the West, and they're still kind of like in the idea of the land, you know what I mean, in a way. So I think we need new blood. We need new blood in there in that way, and that's being out straight. We need people. This is my idea. No, not my idea, but an idea I've came up with and what we need. Because say when it comes to the counts, okay? So this count thing is really big. So it means that somebody can get in without getting a lot of number one votes. So what happens is, if I vote on I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say you're number 5, I'm at the point in front of your name. yeah, all of the rest of them get knocked out, then that means that number 5 is a 1 now. So basically that's get counted. So as they go through the counts, it's not that they made mistakes. I used to think that. And call me Stu, whatever, hold my hands up with it, right? I used to think, well, maybe they're making mistakes like 1, 2,
But you
3,
would
4.
think that though.
Yeah, but that's not what counts works. So we have lads in there that are on the 15th count. That means they were the last people in that building that day, scraping pieces of paper together with 15 on it. So people in their constituency only wanted them in at that 15th choice. Some people think you have to fill them all in. You don't. The RTE should be used as, this is why the only thing it should be used for is massive campaigns on how to register for voting and how to vote and what it matters and what the actual sheet looks like and all.
I feel like they should teach you that in school as well. Like.
Don't.
It's mad, the shit that you don't learn in school.
It's the stuff
You know
need,
what?
man.
I was just gonna say something like that, Jay. Like in schools, like we learn so much about history that has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
We should just focus on our own history.
How to
Do
get
you
a
know what I mean?
mortgage and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Like fucking.
Half 8 every Monday, you should be brought out and taught how to swim. I'm about 4 years old.
As well. what I was going to touch into there was the idea. Right, so we need, because there's 5 million on this island, say, yeah. We need representatives from the industries. So imagine they pick a weak C, say a nurse, and they run. She has integrity. She's been in nursing 25
100%.
years, 30 years, and all the nurses say, right, what we're going to do is the whole nurses in the country are going to get behind this one nurse.
Yeah.
And then you pick like say an ordinary Joe, an ordinary barber, an ordinary a guard, someone from the army, a doctor, podcaster. You can represent the podcast, but when you label out all the industries, you'll start seeing. And we just lifted up the veil. We know what the industries are important. The fisheries, someone that to represent the mica and pyrite thing going on down in Donegal. You see that? Them boys bought houses. Them families bought houses. The bricks were infected.
I've seen it, yeah.
They're falling apart.
There's about, how many houses? 24, is there? 24 houses?
That must be local enough to Pierce Doherty, would it? That must be up around his neck.
100%. And the thing is, I'd say your man Paddy Diver, who's running it, Paddy's a legend. Paddy's just one ordinary guy that's standing up, going for it.
Yeah,
That's what we need. We need to get rid of them. And see all the people that are in there now, they're taking all of the wages. Every single part of their wages. First thing they should have did if they had any integrity was said, well, all restrictions are in place, or any restrictions are in place, we will take 50% of it, and the other 50% will go towards basically the pandemic. They didn't. They took raises.
3 pay rises.
3 pay rises in the pandemic, all right? Less hours, less time.
Yeah.
Don't get asked questions. They have as much power as possible now.
Sounds like the perfect job, doesn't it?
Big
Yeah, it is the
5-star
perfect
day
job,
out
and
at the convention centre.
It's a
every time we
job
meet.
to them. I see people going from the council in there, and I look at them and I can see them. They're just like, just shut up and say nothing. And they're thinking, I have a mortgage to pay. These are people too, you understand that. But we are going in the direction where we are going to purge our kids. All of this stuff that's happening, as I said, wear a mask, do whatever you want to do. But if you're crossing the road out there and you've got a mask on and you want me to take you serious, I'm not going to take you serious. It means you don't believe in science. It means you don't have an understanding of this. It's being proven. If you Google now, the New York Times said that they haven't found one case of COVID that's being transmitted outside. But still you see people, because RTE told them, walking on the road with masks on.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and you're talking about, like, this is how in Prague, I was in Prague with the Irish team, right? You're not allowed to wear them little blue masks, because they're like, no, they don't work. If you want to wear a mask, you can wear this one. And they have machines and vending machines with the actual masks that work.
Right.
And they make you wear the ones that work.
And what are they like, Paddy? What are the
You
ones
want
that
to
work
wear
like?
one. So I think called N95s, the masks there. But the ones that actually surgical masks, they work. That blue thing, like, like if I sneezed and I had that mask on, it'd hit you in the face here. Like,
Yeah, on that note,
Can
did you
we test
ever
that? Can
sneeze?
we
Did
test
you ever
that?
sneeze in one of them? It's poxy, big smell of saliva for the rest of the day. Give me a new
like,
mask.
just unreal. Like, and I said, anyone can wear that, but I get people like coming in and going to me like, oh, do you have to wear a mask? And then they don't even really want to wear it.
So how do you like adopt this policy into your gym? Do you? Is it like
I just listen.
vaccinated, non-vaccinated? You can train.
Well, a choice. Everything's choice. To me, I go by the constitution, the real constitution that we have. You know what I mean?
That you
That's
have
it.
to avoid.
Everyone
but-
else has abandoned that. I am not. Right. So there's an article in the constitution, Article 6. Right, and it says that we have the ability to elect our rulers. That's the word, basically. And then they have the kind of the job to figure out what's the best for us. Right. So on that article, everything else means nothing. That means that if they decide on a Wednesday that you have to stand on your bathroom in one leg and they think that's for the good of the people, and everyone else agrees with that. You might be standing in your bathroom on one leg on a Wednesday going, but this is bollocks, like. So what? It's the law now. They have.
What about when you go into, like, if you're going to do a shop, Paddy? Obviously, you have to feed your kids. If you're going shopping, do you wear the mask? You just walk in without it.
An
Right.
exemption for a mask. So
I want to get your thoughts on this, right? So, when the lockdown first happened, Conor McGregor put out a video where he was encouraging people to just, see it out. Let's come together, this and that. And then this is actually something you posted on your Instagram. It was actually a screenshot of Conor McGregor's Twitter, where he said he was obviously called out for encouraging people to get together and stuff. And it says, this was early 2020 when people were collapsing in the streets. I was scared for my family. I urged everyone to sit tight for a few weeks.
Collapsing in comments there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
was
that's important.
collapsing in the streets. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Context. Oh, shut your mouth,
He
man.
studied journalism.
Yeah.
I was scared for my family. I urged everyone to sit tight for a few weeks to see where we land. My opinion on the situation now was night and day to then. I actually feel I was lied to originally, as were we all. What was your honest opinion when you're saying that, genuinely?
Well, there's people out there that won't say anything. So, like, anything, like I always say to Conor, like, fair play to you. You know what I mean? Because Conor's real. And that's it. And when Conor called for the lockdown at the start, I'm in the same boat. When you looked at the numbers, right? When you look at the, I think it was the swine flu coming in, okay? I know it was, the SARS before this. Not swine flu. I keep getting mixed up with it, but there was 8,000 cases, all right? But the difference was that they used, like, holistic therapies as well, like, and therapies like drugs and stuff like that, and all, like ivermectin and all of these drugs that they're kind of banning now, like, where it's one of the safest drugs in the world. That's what they were saying about Joe Rogan, saying that he was taking
Yeah, that's right.
horse dewormer and stuff like that and all. There's different levels of this stuff. Same way there's different levels of salt and industrial salt and table salt, and that's the way it is, like, So when I first read that, and with Conor with the front, absolutely agreed on, Then what people were trying to do, little snaky rats out there, and they knew who they were because I messages and said to you, you're a muppet, come out and say something, They were posting that video as in Conor had said that about the next lockdown coming in.
Right,
They posed that like that, they did, because they're snakes. And that's what they did. And I messaged them, I did, and I said, you fucking know that. And he was like, oh no, well I didn't. And you'll see it. You see some of them, they went back and deleted it, they did. Right. The other ones just hid like cowards under a mattress and checked for their likes every now and again. Oh, likes. I went back in. That was it. And I messaged them and said, like, I said to them out straight, why would you do something like that? Why, like, you're doing what the mainstream media are doing. You have all these kind of activist pages, but these activist pages are then doing what the mainstream media are doing for likes and hits and numbers, and it's like, I'm not about that.
I remember when he put out them videos, a lot of people there was a lot that were like, in his corner, fair play to you, this, that and the other, and then there was a lot of kind of laughing at how he constructed the videos and stuff, right? But, like, do you feel like he had the genuine, like, best intentions for the country in them situations, or because there can be PR stunts? Now, I have an opinion on Conor McGregor. Do you know what I mean? I was always kind of like, the boys
Suck a stick, basically.
I wouldn't go that far, but
no, we would definitely 100%.
You've definitely rubbed one out to a fight before.
Probably the Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez,
that was a beautiful performance.
Unbelievable.
Chad Mendes, maybe.
Which one? Chad Mendes was good too.
I cried at the Chad Mendes one.
That was unreal. No joke. That was incredible.
Didn't like seeing your baby bleeding.
That was incredible.
It was the moment, Martin. You know what I mean? 8 minutes on the deck and he gets up and sparks him. It was beautiful.
Unreal.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Unreal, like.
But yeah, you feel like he had the best interest in the country in them situations.
Why would he say it? Like, where is it? Like, everyone else have you?
No, I know, but like, let's just like, it's the biggest of the biggest. Do you know what I mean? Like, anytime he does something good, people put it down to a tax write-off or something. Do you know what I mean? They don't believe that the
but here, you just have to look, like, where I gave Conor all the credit in the world is, nearly everyone that starts a GoFundMe, he silently does it and doesn't say anything about it. Yeah. The only people that know about it are the people that are involved in it, and the people that are either donating or went into the GoFundMe being nosy and they see Conor McGregor. He does that so often, it's unbelievable, you know?
Yeah. Hashtag Bellafund.
And there's a great saying as well, you'll never be criticised by somebody doing better than you. You know what I mean?
I only read that yesterday, that was deadly. Did you put that up?
Conor, if you're watching, Bella's Journey has a GoFundMe as well, actually.
Yeah, there's also a seat beside Paddy as well.
Bella's Journey. Martin, do you want to give a bit more information? You're more educated on it, but
you might as well take that moment to.
We have an episode up on the Paddy with Bella's mum and dad. She was born with cerebral palsy, and they were looking to try and get an extension built on the side of the house because they have so much equipment and they need medical equipment and stuff. So they were trying to apply through the council to get help with building it, and we just kept getting rejected. So they went to price it themselves and they got 120 grand back. But then because of Brexit, it's gone up again. So we've done a few little things. They organised us all to get our head shaved in the summer. We did that. We played a match a few weeks ago. In March, we're going to walk from Galway to Clondalkin. But like they're halfway up on the GoFundMe, do you know what I mean?
It upsets me to hear them things like that. You're saying there, like, and you know what we've been paying?
Nicest people.
We've been paying 3 million for testing a day.
Yeah.
A day, right? 3 million. That's a drop in the water.
Yeah.
For them to and it's just it. That's just
she's actually back in hospital now at the minute.
Yeah.
Like when you hear that story, Paddy, obviously you have kids of your own. Like we just don't know how lucky we are when we hear
Like
this.
Well, we
24
would send you
hour
the link to
full-time
the episode. It's a brilliant episode, like, and their man, dad, like, Jesus Christ, like credit to them. It's difficult, isn't it?
I'm saying
Like,
it's 24 hours.
The thing is, there's so many people out there like that. You know what I mean?
Well, no.
So many. It's just obviously this one's close to
like
home.
this,
And
lads, see this, lads, this country. Like, keep going because these little things pop up, and these are we shouldn't be the ones that have to deal with these things. This country is flushed, lads. There's a lot of money in this country. There's oil off the coast of Kerry, 420 billions worth estimated. Yeah, off the coast. That we've given it all away. We were the only country that found oil and stayed broke. You know what I mean? They're rich, we're broke. Have a look at what the Taoiseach gets paid in this country, and then have a look at what Boris Johnson gets.
I only found out.
250 Taoiseach.
He's up there now. I think it's like, yeah, it's near close to that. He gets more than the president of Ireland, Taoiseach, gets, and he gets, I think it's the equivalent of what Boris Johnson gets. And people are like, yeah, well, they're both. He looks after 66 million people.
Yeah.
This other lad, 5 million people.
Yeah.
But like, if you
They
ever
won't even talk.
if you ever want to measure them, do you remember the RTE debate that time when you're giving out the Sinn Fein weren't invited? And Leo hit him with a cracker. He says, giving Micheál Martin back the keys of the government is like giving John Delaney back the FAI.
Yeah.
But the only way for him to get into government was to give it to him, so who has the fucking keys?
So give it to him.
Slid it back into bed with him just to get his own way because he knows he'll be Taoiseach then.
Yeah, here's something I'm going to say, right? And this might be a little bit controversial, right?
Go for it. We love that.
We
love
love
that.
We'll clip this.
Coming on Instagram soon.
So when it comes to the next election, what I'll be watching for is for Sinn Fein. I'll be watching to see what Sinn Fein are going to say. Will Sinn Fein say at the start of the election that they will go in with Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael? And will they run enough seats? So they're going to have to run 81 to get the majority and get them in. I don't think they have 81 TDs. That's being straight.
Independence.
Yeah, well, if they want to be Sinn Fein in there on their own, basically. If they're going to go in with the independents, they're going to have to make a plan and make some of this stuff clear before they go in, you know, because...
The Greens are just there with the told.
Well, we could end up with a Sinn Fein and a Fianna Fáil government, basically, because Fine Gael government, because Fianna Fáil are going to be slaughtered in this one. The Greens are going to be slaughtered in this one. If Fine Gael can hang on to something, that's what they could be looking at. And would they go in? I don't know. But I'll be asking this question when the time comes. When the time comes, I will 100% be standing there. And I'm going to try and educate people a little bit more. Do I know it all? No. But I stood in the election centre, elected, and people are like, how many number twos did you get? No, number twos are for losers, mate. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. And then he explained that, and I was like, I'm a tick. I just get elected. I was just naive. I was competitive in that way where I was like, I am going for it, and I'm topping the poll. I'm going for it. You know what I mean? And even now with the council work, I'm flat with that. I don't hold back on that. You know. So I'm in the council. I just got a motion passed the other day in the council unanimously to have an investigation into a mould problem that's going on in the housing estate up my way, McIlliam.
I think I've seen that in the news.
Places and bits, lads, falling down. You know what I mean? Like some of the buildings have cracks down the sides of them. They put, I think it was 400 social houses in there about, I think it might have been 15 years ago. You wouldn't guess, if you tried to get 400 social houses into Knockaloyan or into somewhere.
Oh, wrecks me head. They come out and protest them and all.
We tried to get 12 social houses into Knockaloyan, and everybody was against it. Like, there's a little side of a football club, and they were like, you're taking the kids' footballs, you're doing all this, and whatever. People can say what they want. And
so it's happening around here, everywhere.
Yeah. We're used to it because we accept and we realise that we have to share, and everybody
100%.
has to get along.
More important, people have somewhere to sleep than where to kick a ball.
Like, in fairness, there's fuck all land of help now. Like, around the lights of Tally, the lights of Clonlarkin. It's just
they're taking our field.
They took their field. We take more of the social houses, and you'll see it. If you go and look at it, take all the social houses. So we're in a situation where we're like, and then they come out here and then say if somebody buys 10 apartments and then puts 10 people in there on a HAP payment, right? And 12 years go by, because that's how long it takes to get a house. You just paid for 10 apartments.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to put the deposit down. You probably have to put a banker down for them, one or two of them. All right, I'll take 10 of them off you, mate. Right? And then in 10, 12 years, you're going to own 10 apartments. But you didn't pay the mortgage. You didn't go 9 to 5 and pay the mortgage. And that. Someone had to go and get housing assistance payment, and then they had to go into a social housing. And the whole system lines up way too well. Wait, and then guess what the bottom part of that is? Well, if you don't want to pay a house, we've got a little street corner there that we could give you. Because there's lots of homeless, and we don't give a fuck about them. Because they don't, boys. They don't. You look at all these... Here, I'm going to tell you straight, right? The other day, so I get people knocking on my door and all sorts, right, for help, right? Now, I say to them, don't knock on my house, right? But I help them, don't ever knock on my house again. Right? My girlfriend's here, my family's here. I have to have some sort of place, you know what I mean? But...
what's your address, Paddy?
We rang one of the charities that gets millions, absolutely millions pumped into it off the government and they're flying high, right? And two of the lads I rang on the phone, I was like, can you come out with a sleeping bag and a tent? This lad, all the rooms are gone. He's like, we don't have a driving licence. What? You don't have a driving licence? So how are you getting out to people? We're getting taxis. Because you imagine someone pulling up to somebody homeless in a taxi. These two lads were about 20, I'd say. And he was like, oh, well, we had a problem with such. I don't care, mate. I said, I don't care. You get paid millions in there. When I have a problem in my gym, I can't ring no one and say, drop a few thousand into that account there. It doesn't work like that.
Do you know what, Paddy? After we done the course, right, I worked in Iffy Valley Fitness for about a year, and then I got let go, and I couldn't get a job for about a year. So I done a week of going door to door for a charity, a homeless charity. And I sold nothing. On the 5th day, they told me, if you don't sell nothing, you're gone. So it was like 12 in the morning, I was fucking miles away from my gap. I said, fuck this, I'm going home. Checked my bank the next week, there was 600 and something quid there they paid me. I didn't sell one thing. I went in at about 19, I had no licence, told me I could have a company card to drive in and out of town and all. Like, mate, no qualifications, nothing, 600 quid for not selling nothing, and the keys to the car.
Homeless charities are a business, man, I'm telling you. So go and check it. Check it now. Go and check CEOs of homeless charities, and you're going to see it. Some of them are 130 grand. So when that lad was at my door the other night with a tent and two lads without a driving licence, some lad was off getting paid 130 grand a year, and he was in bed. And I don't care who you are. How can you be this big philanthropist or whatever it is? Philanthropist.
I like that one.
You know what I mean? And we're in a situation then, right? So why aren't these charities building houses all the time? Why isn't it public houses on public land? So if they've got £1 million there, right, sound, build houses, build more houses. There's money, put money in. I want money, put money into a charity, but if you're paying it to the ground in taxis and all sorts, I'm not having that. Yeah. Do you know? And I'm going to say something about it. And that's where I get like, oh, he's fucking moaning again. I mean, I will moan. I'm going to be in 30 years. I'll be 63, and I'm telling you, anybody that's in government now and all that, I'm not going nowhere. You better kill me or something, because I'm going nowhere. The mother and baby home, that files will be out in 30 years, and I'll be there. I'll be waiting for that at 60. Remembering what happened now, and with all of the stuff with the care homes. I'll be there as well. I'll be there with that. I'm not going nowhere, and I'll be with other people fighting with this. I don't care. Yeah. Say what you want about my name, Say something. Tell them something else that they haven't said about me. There's no way Eminem says that thing. Yeah. There's nothing there anymore.
We started this episode, Paddy, saying what's your proudest moment, and obviously walking out the tree arena was one of them. But to me, like the work that you're doing, I just get energy from it, you know what I mean? Yeah, now, that's what I'm saying. Being elected is extremely proud.
Did you have goals going in, like when you got elected? 100%. Was there I would imagine you did, but was there anything that you really wanted to kind of focus on and make sure?
I wanted to make sure I steadied myself. That was one of the most important things, and I had to make some decisions over the past few years to make sure that was the case, and that's it. You're looking at I don't want to say you're looking at the realest among them, but I'm telling you, I am here. And I'm not going away. This generation is the generation that can grow up and change this country. Yeah. We are an island. We're loved all over the world. You just drop into someone, they're like, you're Irish. It's great. They would help us. This whole world would help us if we were going in the direction that we actually wanted to go. But we're not. We're being forced into a direction that is absolutely just helping the minority. And everyone else is suffering. Everyone else is going from housing, working 9 to 5 to scrape just to get one building by. And then there's a whole other group in the country that 4 houses is a splash in the ocean.
Yeah. We're after getting a comment in there, Paddy, is that any mental health support services for at-risk troubled youth and talent.
Hope is one of the best ones I was saying. So, and I don't want to go in and start bashing PA the house and stuff like that.
Well, feel free to do it, because I do, Paddy, and I'll tell you why I do, because number one, the salary they're on, right? I won't mention the company I worked for, but a company I worked for previously managed their IT, and
you've seen it.
I've seen the contract.
I've seen them,
and it's ridiculous, right? And not only that, they turn down addicts and stuff like that. That's half the problem. Do you know what I mean? So to me, I don't get behind. Like, don't get me wrong, they do great work. They do great work. You can't knock them for that, but they don't do enough for what they have.
No. See, the thing is that they're the only show in town, apparently.
Yeah, well, it's because they're the biggest fucking name. But they're the biggest name because the people that are saying fucking they support mental health, a lot of them, like, mental health, everyone wants to support, but they don't do the homework on it. So it's only the people that genuinely have mental health issues that know that Pieta House aren't the best out there. Do you know what I mean?
I think when you first go in, the show looks great, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we'll see you in 3 months, and it's like, what? So that lad there, if you want to message me on Instagram, there's a place in Tala Village, and I'll send you that number directly. It's called Hope. Right. And Hope was set up by somebody who understands and who's experienced suicide, say, close. You know, so, and to me, like, even, like, I had someone that, like, from drug rehab clinics and stuff like that and all, like, and they're ex-addicts and stuff, and I'm like, this is what we need, you know what I mean? And then, like, there's no doubt, say if I said, I'm going to run, say, in the door next time, they'll attack me. They'll attack me as in, like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not educated. You're not, all, like,
they have a fancy suit, do you know what I mean?
100%.
Regarding what?
Regarding everything. You don't know how it works out. The words, everything. If you go on, you'll hear stuff, and it's as close to racism or whatever it is. And people will say, look at how he said this word. Look at the state of him in that jacket.
You believe in any way it's because of where you're from?
Of course, it's classism. You know what I mean? It's classism. That's it. And classism in this country is okay.
You know what you should do one day? Have a shave, get a haircut, lock up in the suit. What you saying now, you little rats?
Because I'm pure emasculated over here. You three have power beards and I can't grow one. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm absolutely the least male person here.
You have a little bit of stubble going there.
Little fourth baby be like, Mama. You'd be like that to Martin. You'd be like, you're your dad.
Yeah, boys, honestly.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, no, but it's that guy telling to message me, and absolutely, because it's hard for your age now and all at this time. It's rough, man. It really is, and my heart goes out to you.
Well, I want to bring it back to the MMA. We jumped off, but it was very insightful to say the least, wasn't it?
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
100%.
So I kind of wanted to touch on the next time you fought in the Tree Arena. You were due to fight Lewis Smoker, and I'm not sure your placement on the card, but it wasn't the main event. A lot of things happened. Was it Joe Duffy and Dustin Poirier to main event?
Joe Duffy had got some sort of head injury or something like that, which he should have fucking disclosed. You know what I mean?
It was Dustin Poirier though, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dustin Poirier. I think it was Dustin Poirier, yeah. Joe Duffy and Dustin Poirier,
yeah.
So he was the main event, and I don't know if someone was commented, whatever. I found out on Twitter. That was the thing that he was doing the main event. So
how did that come? How the fuck did that come about? Like, no talk through your camp, no.
Oh, you didn't hear that. I heard that on Twitter. That was it. I rolled over one morning and she was like, "You're the co-main event." I was like, "Yeah, well."
When did you get told that? Or when did you see it on Twitter?
The day before the weigh-in.
Fucking hell.
So what was the pressure like? Did that get switched to 5 rounds?
No, they didn't switch to 5 rounds because they would have to redo the contract.
Right.
So he was whatever. To be honest, I wouldn't even then. I would have been a little bit naive and just been like, all right. But now one of my fighters would be like, no, let's get more money. Like, no, that was negotiated. Now we got a few more quid. I got more money off them.
Much.
You know what I mean?
I mean, what's that like, Paddy? What's it like being in a room and dealing with Dana and all? Because he's such a big character on the internet and all. Like, he has a fan base. You know,
I love Dana.
You seem to have a good relationship with Dana, do you?
Dana tweeted the first time when he finished Sambo,
yeah.
Paddy Holohan just blew the roof off the Tree Arena.
Yeah.
And like someone sent me that tweet and it was
fucking did. Let's call a spade a spade. Like,
it's mental.
But even back to the handshake, like, you seem to have a good relationship. Like, would you still talk to Dana now?
No, well, I don't need to go back and forward with people that like. I don't like, because I know for the fact, like, if we say we have a conversation with somebody in Boston at a time and it's like, and then I get a message out them, like, what's up, bud? It's like, there's 1,000 people now doing that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not that you're ignoring them, but it's just unrealistic sometimes. So like, say the thing with Dana, hopefully the next time I'm talking to Dana is when I'm saying, Dana, when you check out these fighters that I've got, you know, and I've got somebody here, and like I went out that door and I came back in that door, and maybe mine wasn't ready, but I'm telling back here, Dana, you know, and I went and developed fighters, but not only that, but like people all the way from the bottom, you know, someone that maybe was watching in and watching me, and now it's like I've come back and people are like, it's you, and I'm like, yeah, I know, you know, I teach the beginners classes, I teach kids classes, I'm there, like, and they're like, why don't you just like sit up the top? And I was like, no, that's not what it's about, this is my new mission. I want to be the best coach in the world. You know, I'm 33, I'm very young.
Well, one of your students was on the podcast. Shauna Bannon was on with us last season.
Incredible.
And she said that she noticed Dana White was actually looking at her Instagram story. And she believes that came through you. Like, he obviously fell into her
Still
path
paying
and all
attention
whatever.
to you, obviously, yeah.
Well, then I would say, well, Ariel, I have to say, Ariel's probably one of the nicest guys. Ariel texts me.
I've-
every
He
now
dealt
and
with
comes
again.
him a few
across
times.
like a
Ariel
fucking
messaged
Ariel a
legend,
few
yeah.
Ariel
times. I
messages
love
you every
him.
now
Jay
and
gets in
again.
there with him the odd time, don't you, Jay?
Yeah, he actually, because I covered Bellator 220, I believe it was. It was Gallagher didn't fight on it. Who was it? Fuck.
Come on,
He was
Jay.
the main event.
Liam Court.
Liam McCourt main
Sunday main
event.
event.
Kiefer Crosby fought on it as well. But yeah, fucking.
There's two other savages that are doing great in the sport. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but Ariel, like, I sent Ariel a clip of like me interview with Kiefer, and he just the advice. He's like, good questions, short questions next time, in and out like a boxer and all. It was just good advice, you know.
Brilliant. Freddie. He sent
Yeah,
me a
he-
picture of outside the Boston Tea Party thing there and going like,
You just had a thing with cups of tea and all.
thinking of
didn't
you,
you?
bro. Like, yeah, we done a whole day there, the day before the weigh-in, and then people would be like, oh, the weigh-in's tomorrow, we don't want to do that and all. I got an opportunity there. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, here's like tea, and I was like, this is Boston. The Boston Tea Party was here. The yoga's down there. Pick me up tomorrow on Thursday in the morning. And we went down and we did it, and we blew it out. It was a brilliant interview. One of the things, like, we're sitting down talking to somebody having a cup of tea, and like maybe I was so naive at that start, but it was ballsy, you know what I mean? And I'm like, this is Ariel Holohan. He's like, oh, wow, I'm Paddy Holohan, as I was saying to myself back then, but it's like, and I'm going out to fight, like, and I was fighting for my job, that fight as well.
I tell you what, there's nobody that can like go toe to toe with him verbally.
Oh.
Like he's destroying
Have you
Brendan Schaub at
See
the
him,
minute.
10-7s, 10-7s.
It's not even funny. Like Brendan Schaub's getting annihilated.
He's not
every
even
week.
responding now.
He is.
Brendan
He
Schaub?
done a 20-minute video the other day where he was supposed to do an apology, but he kind of just took a turn and he was like, I'm kind of apologising, but I'm not apologising.
Send me that link. I didn't
Oh,
see
yeah,
that.
I only
Because
watched
I'm
it
at the
last
being
night.
watching all the beef. Obviously, I'm trying to fucking, like, I'm watching these interviews trying to get inspiration, ideas and all as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
But obviously, I'm a fan of Brendan Schaub's, his outlay. He actually inspired this sign here. Do you ever see his podcast set up?
I've met Brendan when he was here, actually, because when we were setting
You
up
did, that's right.
yeah, so we were setting up the podcast, we were linking in and stuff.
Did you
like
get
that.
inspiration from him yourself?
Yeah,
Or
well,
was he actually up on
The
one
reason
of
why we
that
wanted to
stage?
do the podcast was because there was a lot going on, a lot had to be said, and nobody was saying it.
Yeah.
And I just said like we'll call it no shame. So it's the idea you come on here and it's like, look, yeah, listen, no shame. But then the idea is it got too big, and they came after that big time. That's the way it was. You know what I mean? It was like, you need to get rid of this. Like, that's too much of an outlet. Like, we had Jerry Adams and all on. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't be doing that.
Who's your favourite? Who's your favourite guest on the show?
Big Jerry.
You had some big
I
ones.
like Jerry. Look, Jerry was great. I have to say, Jerry was great, but I couldn't ask Jerry everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody sitting there watching
Yeah,
the interview
yeah.
and all. We had to send it away to make sure it was.
Sometimes the
Say the wrong thing, you
pre-interview,
get
the
12
pre-conversations are better than the actual
Shut up
podcast.
the people, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just been so far with the No Shame podcast. To be honest, like we're gonna look at coming back with the podcast. You know what I mean? So the No Shame podcast. Through all of this, it's just being crazy. I'm just gonna be straight. This is all just being to me. Now not everybody putting everybody in the same, but 90% of the media has just been COVID in, you know what I mean? Like, look at listen to the radio. It's like, how do you walk around in life and be like, I'm a good person, like going on, like, just to hear the interviews and all, like, it's like, don't shop in a shop if you don't feel safe and all this. And all. Bring your business elsewhere. You know what I mean?
We're
Even
going to
though
have
the
to get you
business-
to do a voiceover for
Yeah,
the show, buddy.
Even though the businesses are being closed, it was like, please close all these businesses just for the safety of everybody. Please, we would really ask you to do this, and everyone said, right sound. But don't go back there now. It's like, you know what I mean? So they shouldn't be saying things like that. So the No Shame podcast needs to be back in because we don't.
You've a lot to say now.
Yeah, we have a lot to say. But like, they'll be in the woods.
You'll be tongue-tied as well, though, won't you? Like, there'll be
the
eyes on it.
time when they did us with that podcast and all, they cut disclaimers and all out of it. That's how bad it is. And let me tell you, you'll never have the money to go after these people. So I priced it as well, and it was looking good. You know, like one of the things when I said I had an incel manifesto. An incel manifesto.
What's an incel manifesto?
We didn't know that's why I didn't care until somebody told me. So an incel manifesto is somebody that can't have sex with women, basically, or can't like attract women, so he ends up hating them and he ends up creating groups.
lunatics on the internet.
But when you Google it,
Yeah.
it says like incel manifesto group 40
That's
of them.
Jay
like,
at the
went
minute,
in
isn't it?
No,
and
Jay, you need to read about this. It's
killed
funny,
40 people or something like this in a massacre and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
No, that's not me, Jay.
Well,
I
They
actually
all
like
hate
people.
women because they can't get their rocks, like literally because they can't get boards to have sex with them, so they hate them.
I don't
Go on
hate them. I'm
forums
just
and
not
all.
mad about
So
them right now.
I knew when it was aiming towards me, that's what it was coming.
Why the fuck were you labelled as that?
That's crazy, Paddy.
Because
Yeah.
you know what? Let's kill him with air. And it wasn't, with the words are left and right, and it was like if you look at the words, they put commas on the screen and they put it in commas and all because it could be like that word went there. And like, listen, I went to barristers with this and all this, and they were like, that's a professional job.
Is
That's
it?
not like someone deciding. That's a professional job.
Yeah,
when you put
definitely.
comments and you start taking this part of the conversation and putting it there,
Putting it over
and
there,
putting
yeah.
that part there, and then you start linking it to other stuff and all, like, and saying, like, it's really, really, really bad and all, like, you know what I mean? That's it. It's like, it's not. You know what's really, really bad? And the same people don't do interviews about? The government robbing the country, the homelessness in the country. Where all them
Is it
interviews?
a dangerous game for you to get into podcasting, Paddy? Because, like, you know...
He's passionate, clearly. Like,
Yeah, and during the conversation, shit just comes out. And obviously, the work you're involved in, like, surely you have to put some form of filter on yourself.
See, I agree, but the idea was, I was, say, as I said, elected, and I was doing a podcast where you've got guys that are coming out there and they're not even going outside of what's in front of them or what's on the teleprompter. The interview, they know what question's coming, they know who they're pointing to. It's all a big stage.
Yeah.
It's all like going to walk out like it's Independence Day and they're walking out to address the nation and all, you know what I mean? These things are fools now. The only thing that Micheál Martin and all has done for this country is inspired the youth that they can do anything. You know what I mean? Because they're the leaders of the country. That shows you. Like, we've got the poor leadership going on, you know what I mean? It's just, it's disgraceful. It's been like this for 100 years. But this is the generation that can change it. This is it. We need a little bit of passion in the realm. We need that. People are going to start making it out to be craziness. It's ridiculous. You just have to look at someone's background to know who they are or what these accusations are. And anybody that looks into anything like that, they'll know that someone isn't what they're saying. And if they don't look into it, they don't care. They already hated you. And they were just looking for a reason to be like, yes, I knew I hated you for a reason. And that's it, you know? So
Do we have any exclusives for the podcast? Exclusives, even?
What did you go with the exclusives?
I don't know what the fuck I said.
He just
yeah, so,
inclusive, exclusive.
Just exclusive.
Any details or anything at all that you can give us?
no, so the idea we haven't. There's no plans. There's no really details on it. You know,
Yeah,
we
you just know you want to
we're
do
gonna
it.
come back with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's going to be needed, and it would be really good around the election time, wouldn't it?
Oh, do a live.
You know what I
one,
mean?
Yeah. Counting the results, do a live.
We'd start going around the doors and seeing what they're really talking about. And like, I'm there. I'll walk around with you. I'll be like, all right, sound. Are you really going to do this? You really? Well, you said you were going to do this, and you didn't do that. Like, look at Micheál Martin. Like, just being straight. Like, he literally stood there and was like, no way, you couldn't be doing that. Going into government after saying you wouldn't go into government and all. Like, that sort of Jack and Lil Hyde stuff and all. Doesn't roll with me and all. Yeah, we'll go into government. There's a video on YouTube and he's basically saying it like that. This man sat at a table years ago and sold our whole country out for billions. The lad that's making the decisions
I knew
with
I
the
had something else I wanted to say.
medical tried to hide they tried to hide the investigation into the cervical cancer. There's people dead in this country because of their families and all. And people will be like, oh, well, hold on. It's like, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm not standing by this. I'm not sitting here staying quiet. Well, these people are heroes.
When you were talking about the oil and all, like, I had something to say and I forgot to say it about, like, only there, I think it was 2 years ago, I found out that Ireland sold the tolls, like. Like that.
Toll bridge?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
To
We
a
don't get the
Spanish
money out of that.
company.
We don't get the money out of that.
That's
Like,
a cash cow. How much that
I
gets sold for?
think it got sold for 13 million.
What?
And it
Ridiculous
generates
money.
it
Ridiculous
generates like fucking
That about every Friday, Saturday, Sunday after work.
exactly.
Fuck's sake.
The hospital car parks.
Yeah.
You don't own it.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that fund the hospital?
I know.
Like, why didn't
That's what it should be. Like, it's common sense, yeah.
common sense? It doesn't belong in politics. It doesn't
Yeah.
belong in any of that.
It's
And then finally,
fucking nuts.
Common
look
sense
what we're
ain't that
doing
common
now.
either.
Look at what we're doing now.
But yeah,
We've been locked down,
realistically,
boys. We've been locked down for, like, think about it. We have never lifted a lockdown. It's still a lockdown or whatever it is.
yeah,
And it's like,
But common sense should 100% come into play when it comes to especially politics, because there's not enough of it. Yet there's intelligent people with high grades and fucking shit that doesn't matter. Yeah, I got an A in home ec. So fucking what? That shouldn't affect nothing. Common sense, there should be a fucking test for it. Do you know what I mean?
it's going to be rapperscones.
No, but it is, like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
so
listen.
valuable, like, being streetwise and just having that bit of common sense gets you a long, long way, like.
We are at the cream of the crop. So we're generations of I think, collapse. That's what I'm looking at. So, like, say when you think of, like, the Romans and the Aztecs and all of that, it gets to a stage where there's something tough. So my sons are not going to be probably as tough as me. And that's just been, and they're not going to be. Now, my daughter might be, because she seems tough as hell already. You know what I mean? But that's what
My
it
daughter,
is.
give her the go you want.
He's already fucking teaching him Philippines and all.
I don't know if you want that
arm
smoke
bars.
there, to be honest.
My daughter's a black belt engineer, did you know that?
But the civilizations collapse because it gets so comfortable and the authority doesn't get checked. Then
Yeah.
it gets to a situation where it's like, so I could be telling you the meaning of the world, but you're just so arrogant and so egotistic and I'm so low. How dare you even talk to me? And that's where it goes to.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I know. And they're too stubborn then to back down. And then there are millions down the hole. And then it's like, we're fucked. Like, we are literally, then you have, like, there could be blackmail involved. Who knows all this? And they blackmail one, they blackmail us all, you know? They've been in there a long, long time. And let me tell you, there's no way they didn't make mistakes. Leo Martin has been in there since he made his communion. And he is still in there, you know? And let's not forget it. Like Leo
Still
Varadkar,
wearing the same suit as well.
Leo Varadkar's getting ready to take the past the rod again. He's going to be the Taoiseach again. And he's staying quiet when that happens. So it's going to pop up the time and all of a sudden, Leo's the Taoiseach again. And it's like we are going around in circles expecting this different results. No one's ever going to be looking at coming for us. And that's it. We need to come for ourselves now. So see all the young fellas out this side of the city and this side, if you decide not to vote and all this and whatever, you just condemned your kids and all. And see all this, I think, if you can complain with all of the restrictions now and forcing people. So say if somebody, here's what I've heard, right? Now we have a COVID pass, but I wouldn't use it because I've recovered from COVID. I had 2 days, I had a flicker of sweat off my forehead. We went and got the test we did. Have COVID. The next day I didn't have COVID. I did an antigen test 2 days after it. I wasn't infectious anymore. The only reason I got the test because I failed 2 antigen tests in my house. So I'm like, and your woman on the phone couldn't tell me anything. I'm telling her, no. So basically, I said, listen, I've done the test. I'm going to listen to myself. So we have the cert. You get guys going, oh, well, we'll just, my such and such a cert, and I'll use this cert and that cert. It's like, you're going to allow this happen. I refuse to go in places that's going to discriminate. And that's it. I'm not going. If there's a place to sit and I'm happy there, I will be. I'm not going in and showing people medical material and all going in. Like, we don't have to. Can't get the vaccine. So I woke up in a country. I represented this country. That was good enough to do that. Carry the flag out there. Pay me taxes. Do all of that stuff. Come in and do this for us, Paddy. Come in and do that for us. And then all of a sudden I woke up one day in a country being discriminated against because if I take the vaccine, there's a good chance it will kill me. They're like, yeah, well maybe you should take it. You know what I mean?
It's mad, right? I was going through Twitter the other day, and I know you said you don't use your Twitter, but I seen like a big fucking bunch of Karens basically just talking about how like they went into a restaurant or a cafe or something, and they were like, I can't believe they didn't even have the decency to ask for me COVID cert. Do you know what I mean?
That's not about health.
Like it's
that's just someone looking to moan.
yeah.
And you know what I will say? Fair play to all the places out there that are not discriminating against people.
Well,
right? And they're going to come after them now because they'll leave them off for a little while. And they'll corner them all up.
You got in trouble over that, didn't you, Hooligan? Yeah, that lady was opening up her hairdressers and you told her to rock on with it.
I said that. Like, listen, she's shown a lot of courage here and support here.
Yeah.
And then I got like a disciplinary thing off Sinn Fein saying that I had to take her back and I'd be out of party and all. But they didn't even notice that I hadn't even renewed my membership. So if you like me saying you're bad for my gym, Martin, you're like, I'm not in your gym, Paddy. So basically, I I'm not gonna. No one's gonna tell me what to take down off my social media and stuff like that. No, where's freedom of speech? Just because. And let's be straight. Sinn Fein came and asked me to run for them. You know what I mean? I didn't run Sinn Fein.
I didn't know that either.
Sinn Fein came and said, Paddy, will you run for us? Mary Lou came to the gym, visited the gym, and one of the elected officials came and asked me.
So this is why obviously when
and
you were saying earlier you didn't want it.
I represent Holohan. I represent Paddy Holohan. I always have. I will always be myself. And I was like, yeah, sound. Until it's not sound.
Yeah.
You said
no one backs you up.
It must be very frustrating, yeah.
And it's so frustrating because you're looking at a situation where there was an investigation done into it. It was found it was all codswallop. But nobody will read that investigation out. No one cares about that investigation. If I did run for the election for the Dáil, the only thing they would ask me questions about was all that stuff.
100%.
When I'll ask them questions about the investigation, did you read it?
Yeah.
No, so you don't care, so shut up, basically. You know what I mean, in a way. And if you've read the investigation and you have any questions, ring me. Every single Sinn Fein councillor in the country has it. I said it to them all. Not one question, not one message off most of them, you know.
You get into that Dáil, Paddy, and someone's giving you a bit of lip, just look at them and crack the knuckles and all, let them know, do you know what I mean?
See that?
Anytime, brother, anytime, outside.
See that, like, the thing is that, like, even the idea is that, like, listen, as a professional fighter, people would say things to me like that, and I would find it offensive, especially if someone's in the
Fuck's sake, man.
No, not you, man. Not you. All right. But say if I was in the council and someone started kind of like someone suggested one day that.
Oh, you're a fighter.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, I used to fight for money professionally, mate. Yeah, so that's like coming up to a tennis player like, oh, how's your, like, you know what I mean? How's your rackets?
Look at the Klitschko's and all, do you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Now.
Well, hold on, I'm a businessman as well. I've got a few businesses. I've got my own little thing going. You know what I mean? Up my gyms, and I've got got float tanks and stuff like that. And
Texting about that,
you know what I mean? So, like, I'm in that way, no one ever really comes. If they come at me with, like I had one time, there was a councillor in the council who had loafed somebody in the face and knocked their teeth out. I think they ended up in the front of the paper or something over it, but that was the end of it. It wasn't like my onslaught. I didn't even touch anybody.
Yeah.
And then somebody walked up to me at the door and goes, "Hey, did you show him how to do that?" And I didn't find that funny at all. Assaulting assaulting citizens. What do you think I am? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyone that goes out and assaults somebody in the street, it's a bit of dick. Do you know what I mean? In that way, look of like.
Yeah, no,
what
100%.
I'm delighted you went there for a second though, because that was one thing I wanted to ask. Like the perception of what you've done for a living, mixed martial arts, right? That was always kind of like downgraded a little bit in this country, looked down on, right? It's gradually got better, but do you still feel like there's a perception there of martial artists or mixed martial arts in particular because it's cage fighting?
I know this sounds mad, but like, I will say this, and it's not everybody, but it's like there's a massive classes problem. I had this problem before making it to the UFC. If anything, the UFC broke it down a little bit. So we would go and teach in I don't want to say different classes, but there is in this country, there's a massive difference. There's a massive classism problem. Do you know what I mean?
How did you get to the UFC?
I think that's obvious.
Was it purely off the back of the Ultimate Fighter, or was it?
I was 9-0. So when I went there, so I was 9-0. The divisions had just came in the lower division. So remember Dominic Cruz and all that came from ECW,
ECW is that hardcore shit.
I was saying like that. That was good, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was good. I don't watch wrestling, but I watched that.
Dudley was.
Yeah, that was said. So that was it. And basically, I remember one time, I think it was a conversation with John, and John was like, I said, when I'm 5-0, like, get a contract with them, and he said, like 10-0 or something like that, and some sort of contract after that. But I remember being like, this is actually in my hands. This is in my hands. None of them can stop this. It doesn't matter about anything else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm just being like, it's okay to say things to people from council housing estates, and it's okay. Then like, I don't know, but it's like, I just don't think it is. You go on Twitter and you'll see it, and people will say stuff about people's how they speak, especially me. You know what I mean? I don't speak as proper as I would like to speak. You know what I mean? I am Jobstown and I am a council young fella, and that's who I represent, and I represent a lot of people across this country in council housing estates. You know what I mean? And that's it. And that's, I'm just trying to keep the kind of keep the momentum that I've got going, and I'm still learning. I'm a student.
You mentioned there that you were exempt from vaccinations and stuff because of getting factor 13 deficiency. That also led you to retire early as well. What is factor 13 deficiency? It's something of the heart, am I correct?
No.
I
No,
thought
mate.
it was something
No,
to do with
Listen to this for
your
a story, right, as it's going. My uncle dislocated his elbow, right, and he's 2. He was in a bouncy castle down in the Liberties. We were at a community day out, somehow comes out of the bouncy castle with his leg. He goes into the hospital, all right, and can't say hospital. I know. Ruins me, it does. On the other podcast, they'd be like, he said it again. You know what I mean?
Say it one more time.
Hospital. Can't say it. Don't know why. It just doesn't come out right. But anyway, the doctor walks up to me in the place and goes to me, right, you know, his arm's dislocated, and he goes, "Are you vaccinated?" And I'm sitting in the kids' thing going, "What? Are you vaccinated?" The fuck are you asking me that? I said, "My uncle's arm's sitting here." I said, "How dare you ask me that?" And he's like, well, you're putting my staff at risk. And my uncle's arm is dislocated. I'm like, I'm going to lose it here, you know what I mean? Don't mess with my family. And that
when it comes to the kids, it's different
ball
game.
I said to him, listen, I have factor 13 deficiency. I can't get that. And I said, do you know what that is? And he goes, yeah, it's something to do with the immunity. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's to do with clotting. So your body's made up of factors. But this is what made me sick. This guy's asking me, am we vaccinated?
Yeah.
And then I say it to him, and he doesn't even have the audacity to admit, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And the reason why I knew he didn't know what it is, because I'm the only person in Ireland with it.
Oh, really?
Nobody else
Is it
has
1 in a million or 1 in 10 million? Right,
1 in 5 million. Right? I'm the only person on the island that has it. I get kids all around the world messaging me now that have factor 13 deficiency. I was basically like a kite for them, a guiding light in a way of like where, like, we don't, like, doctors are gone, they don't know too much about it. So I'm, as a moon landing, fighting in the UFC, no one will ever do that ever again, especially factor 13. I don't know if haemophilia, they're getting cures for it and stuff like that. And you know what they're using for the cures? It's like a gene therapy. It's like an mRNA. So I've been researching this for a while, and the vaccines are made of mRNA. So people will be like, he's stupid. No, we know a lot more than you think about this. I have a blood disorder that is involved that's so particular for you to actually understand it. Then it's like, all right, you have to know some, you know. So your blood's made up of factors. Say factor 8, factor 9, stuff like that's common. Factor 2
Sounds like sun lotion.
I know, yeah, it does, yeah. I've got to take that as well, don't worry. Factor 50, yeah. Spray gun. My man is be still messaging me, have you got it?
Yeah, man.
So if we get a cut, if you look at like your arm, say from the bottom in, all of these little platelets come and block the cut, make a scab.
Yeah.
My last one is basically like a paste that keeps the scab in place. I don't have that. So what happens is that the clots form and they can fall back into your blood. So then you could end up with a situation where you had a clot floating around. And I did as a kid. I had a blood clot in my brain and I had surgeries and stuff like that for it. Got a bang of a brick. I didn't know I had it till I was 8. So I shouldn't have even made it till then. Like even then they were like what? How did you do that? You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Looking back now and knowing it, as a kid, you're just like, "Wow, yeah, mate, of course I am." You know. But then as an adult, you're like, "Holy fuck," you know.
I want to ask you because
now, fighting, I was always good because my levels. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, walk away.
Fighting, my levels were always good because I can check my levels. So my levels would be as good as yours. So it probably even better because.
How do you check your levels? Just a normal
the
blood
levels
test?
would be a test. What kind of test?
Blood test.
Tests that we're using. So we know a lot about these tests and stuff like that and all because you've got to measure it in levels, in different viral loads and different, so to find out what level you're at, you know. So with the testing, if my factor was below a low level, I would have to take more. If my factor was too high, that could become dangerous, so that never really happens. So we would get it to where mine was the exact same as yours and yours. So when I'm walking into that octagon or that cage, I was no different to nobody in that way.
Yeah.
And it's still like... Yeah, but no.
So it sounds like, Paddy, you still feel like you wanted to go out and keep going.
I'm older now. I'd fight a few. Yeah, I'd go in and have a few knocks with a few veterans. I would have just get out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll fight your man Jake Paul for a few.
Yeah, do you want to call him out here now?
Stop me. If he's gonna do MMA, if he's ever
They're
gonna
not going to do MMA.
No, they aren't.
They're not
Yeah,
going
but
to
he
do
might
it.
look like, hold on, there's a flyweight lad over there. Just crush him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but all you
Logan would. Logan would.
5 mil, right? I'm just naming the push now. 5 mil, right?
We'll do it for 2.
I'll give you 15%.
I'll fight both yous in the one night.
No, I'm only messing. I just.
You just angle pick that cunt and it'll be over in seconds. Like, it wouldn't even be fair.
I'm shy
I'm
fighting.
done with fighting now. I've got a bigger fight on my hands now, unfortunately, which is basically trying to, and I don't want to say I'm trying to steady the country, but I'm trying to help with if these people are willing to come up and do it, and I'm willing to learn. Like, think about it. If we got a government together of ordinary people that actually wanted this country to run the way it should run and for the majority of the people, like you can zoom like people across the world that are specialists and experts, and it's about learning now. It's not about what you know. You know, you get a person going in, it's like, oh well, he knows because he's a. Yeah. He's actually not. He's like the Minister for Higher Education didn't finish college.
That's nuts.
Simon Harris.
That's crazy. And he was the
Minister for Health.
Yeah.
And guess what he never did? And to do with health, because he came straight from the council into the Dáil as a junior minister.
Leo's mate, was he?
It's all about who you know.
When your career is like sidetracked like that, right, and you're being forced to retire, especially when you're in the UFC, the premier organisation. You go back to SPG, you're coaching, you know, you're doing a bit, you get the opportunity to open the gym, and then all of a sudden things don't go your way, and then you leave SPG. Having to retire early and then having to leave SPG, was that like a double fuck? Because it's like, to me, like you're SPG from day one, like, so it's like fucking when Gerrard left Liverpool or something. You know what I mean? It's like, was there an adaptation period there where it's like?
Well, I actually only changed the name from SBG.
I've seen that recently.
Weeks ago.
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, Hologan Martial Arts.
And that was basically that wasn't basically for me in a way. That was basically because now I have students kind of like that. Not they're just doing really well as well, but like they don't represent SPG.
Mm-hmm.
They represent Hologan Martial Arts, and they represent themselves and their families, and it's called Clan Holohan because the idea is I want to be able to create like a mantra across the country where there's these little clans of people, and they help the homeless, and they do scholarships, and they do all that kind of stuff, and they're not maybe just growing, because that just grows astronomical, and it gets too crazy, you know. So with me, when I came back, I retired. I have to say, at that time, my partner at Chelsea was a rock, you know what I mean, in my life. It was like, that was hard, man. That was really hard, because a lot of people who I would have thought were in my life and stuff like that, like, and they wouldn't have been. You know, my relationship was in a different view to what their relationship was. You know, and it's only as a little bit older, even if you look through some text messages or something, you're like, how did you not see that?
Did you ever find people weren't there when you were after you retired?
100%.
Yeah.
Like I think we talked to John for 6 months or something after I retired.
Really?
Yeah, we had a conversation at a cafe and we talked back after that, and then it was like.
Well, were you still not turning up coaching in his gym?
See, the SPG Talent was a kind of at that time was an investment. So we were going to open a gym in Tallaght.
Yeah.
And then a guy came on board and said he wanted to invest. Yeah. Now that guy's out of the picture as well now, and SPG Tallaght is actually doing really good now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the lads that are in it are like me. You know what I mean? In that way, they're council lads. They're like, you know what I mean? And they're trying to like build it up, and they do things for the youth and stuff like that. And also, I get to be blessed with that. But the lad that was there, nah, he was a psychopath, man. He was like, what's that? The wind catcher or whatever it is called. Your man's a wrestling coach. He claims his coach.
I know what you're on about.
Yeah,
I think the movie's actually based on Kurt Angle.
It's based on a group of wrestlers, and the guy comes in and invests and stuff like that. And all
I know. Is it the horse catcher or something?
Wind
I
catcher.
know what you're on about. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a mad situation, right? And the guy was just sly and weird, and then nobody took no one believed me. I think, you know, and then so I packed off my few euro, and I was never in the say like, hold on. You think we need all of this? Like, you think we need all yous?
Yeah, but it must have been disheartening. Like, come on, like it's fucking
like a relationship.
Exactly, it's SPG. Like, it's
family.
Like I said, every single.
It was relationship disheartening. Like, it's like
it was like a tribe, wasn't it? Like you was lot like.
And it still is that way. You know what I mean? For some
you maintain relationships still.
Well, I still talk to guys like Richie Smullen, me and Conor and stuff like that. But I was still talking.
Have you been down to the Black Forge yet?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
What do you think of it?
Yeah. Oh, great.
You obviously didn't use his fucking vaccines here to get in.
We actually sat outside with blame. We sat outside with blame. And now, and see with the pubs and stuff like that, I don't get, like, the pubs are not the problem here. The people that are implementing that and have to implement that, they're not the problem here.
In fairness, I've gone to a few pubs and they don't even ask us. Some of them don't, and they're the ones that you go back to.
They're being bullied. Our government basically make these rules like little cowards that they are and jump back under the covers and they wait and they, you deal with it. That's what they do. And the publicans are there after they already suffered. So I don't blame the businesses, you know. But I have been in the Black Forge, and it's absolutely amazing. The steak on the throne is absolutely unreal. And there's and that black it's Black Forge basically stout.
Yeah. Seeing that last night on his Instagram.
Savage.
Yeah, do you like it?
Yeah. Making drink like it's nothing. With the separation and stuff like that, right? And then obviously the coming away from John Kavanagh. Like we talked about it beforehand. You've all kind of got yous at gyms, like the day ones. Owen Roddy got one. Chris Fields and Tom King got one. I think Ashland Daly works out there as well with them. Phil Mulpeter got one, and yourself. And then all of a sudden there comes this divide about.
So when we say got one, right, I think.
Yeah, that sounds like they're giving them.
But that was the perception. Right. That was the perception. Like, okay. Like, I remember someone coming to me saying like he came and gave you all of this. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I built this.
Whoever thinks that's a fucking easy though, to be fair.
Sorry?
How did it really happen then? Like,
you ring the landlord, you book the building, you fucking get the signs, you plan the building.
You just have the name over
it. Yeah, well, SPG Dublin 24 to me was always what we were going to do, you know? Like, that was my thing. I'm coming back to Tallaght, I'm going to open a gym, I'm going to do what this did for me in a sport. Yeah. That was always the dream, you know what I mean? And it was SPG Tallaght at that time. But now, even looking at the word SPG Tallaght, I like what I have now, you know what I mean? Like, everything worked out for a reason. I like what I have now. I have a massive community of people of all walks of life. Like, we've people that are like 52 that started 6 months ago, you know what I mean? And are flying now in life, like losing weight, starting to find out what it's like life again, basically, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that. And then you have people, as I said, like, that was here, like Sean O'Bannon and stuff like that, and there's people like Mikey Bourne, and like some really, really good talent coming up, you know, and then it will start again, and when they sign for the UFC, they'll be the second ever UFC fighter signed in Tallaght, you know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of flack on SPG at the minute because of like the level of talent that they have in the UFC, where it's predominantly just Conor now, isn't it? Like, I know Ian Gardy probably would have been under that, except for they turned to Team KF, and then he separated from them, you know. But what I wanted to ask you on that is, like, did you see this coming in a sense, like the separation, purely because what I mean by that is, like, right, SPG and Conor McGregor go hand in hand, right? Conor McGregor is the most famous fighter on the planet. SPG has grown, that name has grown because of him as well. Although you are all day ones and you put the hours in and stuff, that name has just grown purely. Conor McGregor, look, he is what it is. Do you know what I mean? So what I mean by that is, like, obviously you see business grow as well. Money's coming in, everything's gravy. Did you see this coming? Did you see the separation coming? Because
For
again,
me, no,
it's
so
like the
strong.
class of '92. It's like your Scholes, Beckham, and all, and that crew. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it's like they're gone. What the fuck? They're taken away from history and legacy. Like,
For me, no, actually, look, I'm still like, so. I got my black belt off Tom King in the end, and stuff like that as well. So Tom King is one of the guys that probably wasn't getting noticed, mentioned enough. So Tom King would have been the first black belt that was produced. So for, by John. So produced as like, and when I say boy John, because it's like sometimes like even guys that come up on our belts now, I don't call them my blue belts and my purple belts and my brown belts.
you had that probably before they got here or something.
No, because
that
they
case.
are themselves, you know.
I get you.
I'm just careful with the language and stuff like that. You get people going like them two people over there are my black belts, and it's like them people are fucking black belts now. Like, you know what I mean? In a way, no one owns anybody in that way. Like, and now but saying that, so Tom's the first black belt. Tom's someone that I would always looked up to. You know what I mean? In a way of like where Tom kind of like he would remind me of like Boxer, you know, Boxer out of Animal Farm. So he just keeps going, going. Doesn't really look around what's going on. Like, doesn't really care about like the political stuff that's going. Just keeps doing the work, teaching the classes and doing. That's the way he was. That.
You know what I always think about, Paddy? You know when you're watching the UFC, look, I'd be as casual a fan as you could meet now, but wrestling always seems very dominant. And in America, it's drilled in their schools. In Russia, you have combat sambo and stuff. You look at like Khabib. What's the equivalent in Ireland? Like, there's no wrestling at school level, at junior level, like.
But there actually is. Ireland, there's a wrestling. There's fisticuff. He was like originating in Ireland. Did you ever hear that?
No.
So it's like I've got to hold one of your sleeves and you've got to hold one of my sleeves.
Oh yeah.
You know, people used to sell things outside pubs and stuff like that. And were they fighting Irish now? Were they compliant Irish now? But they,
That tattoo says
It's always coming back to it. I love it.
no, but like that's it. It's
That's
so
the
sad.
passion, yeah.
Listen, I think we maybe always were the compliant Irish. Then Owen McNeil cancelled the rebellion, and then 7 lads had to say, no, this is the time now. Padraig Pearson, all them guys, and 7 of the leaders turned up and signed the proclamation, knowing that they would be killed. When it came down to it, the rest legged it, and sometimes maybe that happens, you know, and maybe that's just always what happens. And we go, oh, that only happened then. No, that always happens. Maybe it's only a little few, you know. So
that Kilmainham tour is pretty sad.
the compliant Irish, instead of the fighting Irish. But but we are very good at fighting combat sports. Think of it, like, you just have to look around. Like, you've got lads like even for the taekwondo, like Jack Woolley and stuff like that starting to come up, and then you have like Kelly Harrington and Katie Taylor and
Bernard Dunn, world champ,
Ashton and Daly, and then, like, you know what I mean, you have McCourt and stuff like that coming up as well. Well, not coming up now, but like doing really well and gonna get like a proper shot as soon. And Sinead Kavanagh then fighting for the belt, and
Cyborg.
yeah, Cyborg. Look, if we're government or any of the sports councils and that and give a shit, they'd actually have some news, you know what I mean? Other than like, we found another person robbing loads of money today.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about it. We're going to do an investigation, and you're not going to hear about it. In other news, you know what I mean? It's like, we should do the news on his show.
The voiceovers is fucking powerful, alright.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Jay, have you got more?
Jokes are
We're
swearing
at
here,
that-
Jay. Are we swapping it up soon, Harry? Me jokes are in here.
We'll end
I'm
it
pretty
with,
sure they have.
we can end it with a few. You can just give yes or no answers, right?
I don't know about these ones.
Hit me.
These sound like Garda Station questions.
No, right. We'll just run, right. James Gallagher. Do you see James Gallagher ever moving to the UFC?
I don't know. I hope so. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see James doing really well in his life. You know what I mean? James has always been a grinder. James was like, basically, it was a kid coming down from Belfast and like on the buses. You know, he used to go to get a bus down and bus back up and train with us, and like incredible like athlete in that way. You know what I mean?
Serious commitment.
Yeah, well, 100%. And I don't people seen that part. Think to give maybe James a little bit flack. And
He gets a lot of stick for
he doesn't
the.
deserve it.
It's that video, isn't it, when he squares up to your man before the fight and then your man knocks him out?
See, the idea,
That's just
yeah.
the one you see all the time.
I'll be blatantly honest, right? I thought he went down a little road of trying to be too much like Conor.
That's the blueprint,
I
isn't
feel
it?
like a
That
few
blueprint
people in
works.
SBG did though, but I feel like these were people that were just coming in. They saw Conor on the telly and they come in and, you know.
You had to go to Jay.
Yeah, I can do the strut alright.
You grew the beard out.
James is with us since he was a kid, and if you think of it, like, how impressionable
John found
is
him
it?
at 13 or something, didn't he?
Well, yeah, he came down to us about 13 years of age, yeah. Yeah,
What age were you when you started Hooligan?
I was about 18, to be honest, lads. So I was late
Late
starting.
developer.
Late developer, yeah, like late starting. At the time, my girlfriend had fell pregnant. My first son's mum, Tiernan, And I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to be like everyone else in the housing estate. I just didn't want it. I always had like I won't say a good bone in my body, but I just cared. You know what I mean? Like, I was the type to like help the neighbours and all. You know that kind of. You know what I mean? I just wanted a thing. And
You have a deeper meaning.
that is it. And I really, you know what, boys? Since the last little while I've been. I do believe that. I believe I am here. Like sometimes when I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how the resources are around me.
Yeah.
But they only came and they're perfect and it's right now and I trust that. I've got more faith over the last little while and I believe in that. You know. So
Yeah. This was supposed to be yes or no, Paddy. Yeah.
I know, yeah. And he's
You're
wondering,
dragging it on yourself.
Come on, like, do you know what I mean?
that's a bad yes or no question.
Yeah. That's a true.
That was a terrible yes or no question.
James
Someone I
Gallagher
know
moved to the
probably
UFC.
15 years and it's like.
Family to the man.
Yes
That
or
was
no.
it.
No context allowed.
Yeah.
Well,
No
I'll tell you what,
comment.
we'll just go. You can answer them however you want to, right?
Right.
Will Conor McGregor compete again?
Yeah, I think so.
100%.
He stuck to the yes or no, right? Will he be a world champion again?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What's the goal for Hologan Martial Arts?
To just keep building the community and improving people's lives and obviously cracking that UFC thing when it comes to it. That's my passion is building fighters, you know. So I want to be one of the best coaches in the world. And I want people to do really, really well in life, and not only just like if they're professional. I want them to like make enough money now because maybe we were the Georgie Bests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I want them to be able to like come home after a fight and buy a house, and I want to see a look on their face after one of them buys the house and stuff like that. One day.
What was it like on the regional scene, money wise? Like, how difficult was that?
I fought 2 blokes for €500 one time. 2 of them, 2 for 1 deal.
Are you serious? 500 both of them?
I knocked one of them out, and one of them had a win over Conor.
Fuck off.
That guy, yeah, he's sub Conor.
Oh, that
didn't
was
he?
him. He was included in the
He's a dangerous
500.
motherfucker for €500.
That's nuts. Biggest prospect in Ireland currently?
2 of them, probably Paul Hughes and James, I'd say.
And James?
Yeah, and
James a prospect though.
And Keith. Well, no, I suppose
He's on the verge of a world title, isn't he?
He's established, yeah. Like, and then Kiefer Crosby as well. Kiefer Crosby, don't think is signed to any organisation now. And
Does he fight with Bellator independently?
I think he's done up at Bellator now.
Really?
Yeah, I think his goal is to make it to the UFC. You know what I mean, there's some cracking prospects out there then that are younger again. That goes on. Like you've got some really good young prospects as well. You know what I mean? That are coming up and. Yeah, the game is changing. It's getting faster. People are getting better quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see it like from years ago back in the GSP Matt Hughes days. Now GSP was always the best well-rounded fighter, right? I personally think he's the greatest of all
Wrestling
time.
base again, isn't it?
But I think he's the greatest of all time. But you can still see like he kind of stayed with every generation because the generations got better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Every fighter was a more well-rounded fighter. You know, you're either a wrestler or a striker. Or
Rory McDonald, I think, was starting that. Was
Yeah.
the start of it basically.
Yeah,
coming out
he was
actually.
like the fucking protege or something, wasn't he? Like, right. So
When I fought in Canada, funny story, standing outside the chipper, he's standing there with his bag like this, right? I'm like, what are you doing? My mother's collecting me. And his mother pulled up and he opened up a minivan, basically jumped into the side of a minivan like he was getting collected from soccer.
that's
After
gas.
being fighting on the show, closed the door and drove off.
Did you just say soccer because it was in America?
It was in America, it was in Canada, yeah.
Oh, he's just
No,
making
no,
stories
yeah, no,
sound more
it was
realistic.
like a soccer
Psycho,
van or
really?
something. You know, one of these like soccer vans. Football vans doesn't count. It's like, that sounds tough.
But he's like this like borderline psycho now, isn't he? Like he wants like
He's a
no
maniac.
rules. Like he wants headbutts, foot stomp,
I
fucking
don't
head
think
stomps
he's
and all.
ever been the same after that Roddy McDonald fight, you know.
The Robbie Lawler.
Robbie Lawler. Look at his
Yeah.
record. That's
That was
it. That,
crazy.
listen, them fights take years off your life, whether you like it or not.
But would you not put that down to Conor with Diaz?
Well, they have the trilogy to go, but absolutely.
I
like,
don't
they-
think that fight
they
happens.
put that out there.
Diaz has one
Ah,
fight left on his contract, and I don't think he's going to
maybe
sign.
that's what he's doing.
Yeah, but he's looking at Tony Ferguson. Conor's out for a while.
Think about it.
Yeah,
Conor-
but if he
I
can
know.
do it.
Imagine
in
they
the-
both went outside and did it.
Yeah.
Imagine Conor goes in, fights Tony Ferguson.
I hope he has that fight.
I think
Diaz
Tony
gets the
Ferguson will be a
fight,
puncher back
and
for
they
him
go
at the
out
minute.
to- And they go out to Dubai or something like that and do it in a big huge arena out there.
Well, like they were supposed to do that with the Poirier thing, and that's how the fight ended up getting made.
McGregor promotions.
You know what I mean?
Do you think Ferguson's the fight for him?
For Conor? I say he punched the head off the Ferguson.
Like,
That's
do you know
what
what
I'm
I
saying.
think about
I don't
that?
think. I don't think. I don't know how Ferguson got. You know, I mean, looking at his last few fights,
Do you see the beating Gaethje put on him? Now imagine all them smacks coming from Conor.
I'd be better.
Fucking Corton, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Over.
definitely. I don't think. I think Tony Ferguson needs to try and curve that and get out of there quick. You know what I mean? But I think that would be a good fight. Think
How does
McGregor fuck him up.
Tony
Yeah.
you take Conor down either.
right? So Conor's coming off a 2-fight losing streak, right? For the first time in his career. How does he fix it and get back on top? There's a lot of people that say, right, it's about you probably need to fucking change camp. You probably need to be with like a Faraz Sahabi or something like that. Being like SBG and day ones again, would that be a wise decision?
Who are these people?
You know what I'm gonna say? It's people on the internet. Do you know what I mean? But
Fuck
some of
it.
them are a lot of fucking journalists as well, or else they're like MMA fighters who have now transitioned to media.
Someone.
Bisping keeps saying it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's.
Bisping says a lot, but Bisping's a very like intelligent fighter. Like.
Yeah,
no,
but they have
he
beef
is,
as well
but
about the management. don't they?
Bisping will say, and that will buzz. You know what I mean?
They have
well,
beef
I
as
think.
well over that
know
management
what I
or
mean?
something, don't they?
No, they have beef because Bisping picked
Do you know what's
Alvarez
crazy?
to
Conor
beat
fighting
McGregor, and Connor sent him a DM and all, and like Bisping brings it up all the time.
Well, you see
like.
it in the press conferences now, he doesn't like it being talked about, the record they're losing, like he snaps on people for that.
He done it with
No one likes losing.
Stephen
I
A.
know,
Smith.
I know.
No one likes hearing about losing
But
either.
he was
No.
the master at first, he was so humble in defeat.
I just don't listen to that kind of down the end. Do you know what I mean? I don't
Like,
listen to people.
Change camp and all. Like.
Change camp and all. Like, what the fuck do they know
well,
about?
it's like-
camp?
There's like Anthony Joshua having to do it
It'd be
now.
like saying,
He's after
you
doing
need
it
to change
too.
the engine in that car. It's
But
like, sound, jump out and give us a few tips. I don't know anything about engines and cars.
It's the same as the
Yeah.
audio thing. Do you know what I mean? Everyone just, if something's not going so well, they're so quick to change.
Of course,
you know what
100. It's
Yeah.
like that same way with football.
I mean? Yeah, 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, get rid of the manager. And
Ollie
it's so,
out.
yeah.
I'm dying to get my phone back on after this and see the backlash after today.
Do you know what I'm
He'll be
saying?
all over it.
But it's mad though
What's
because
that?
like
What score was the match?
5-0.
Did you not know that?
No! We went to come from the lock. Fuck off.
They thumped him. Salah hat-trick and an assist.
Anyway,
Oh
folks,
my
thanks very
God.
much for tuning in to the Did You Hear show.
Look at the camera,
It's
look
Paddy
at the
Holohan, Jason Garvey, Martin Murray on the deck.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe.
Well,
Fuck that. No,
Thumped
what?
him. 4-0 at half time, 5-0 after 50 minutes.
Pogba sent
butchered
off.
someone with butchered Kate.
Ronaldo goal disallowed.
You win a 4-0. 4-0.
I think that was a sign. Like Pogba done that purposely. I think.
Do you know what's mad, right? When Mourinho got sacked and when Moyes got sacked, they were all after Liverpool defeats.
Yeah, you don't deal well with them. They're the top team, though, wouldn't they?
It's not on. That's what I mean. Like, in the idea of like that's like any decision like that should be a personal decision because no one really knows what goes on in the background.
Yeah.
That would be my answer on that.
No,